live now.
Oh,
Let me post out, let me send out some rinks. Rinky! Man, it's insane, how weak a person can be. It's like, there was moments where I was talking to this dude where it was shocking, like I was caught off guard by how weak he was. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was stuff that I didn't think, you know, like at the moment, like when he asked me if I was giving him a vague threat, if you listen to it, we'll get to it, but when you listen to it, you can hear that I'm like, huh? Like, I'm so confused by what he means. Like, what do you mean vague threat? Like, where? Where did you even hear that? You know, like, and yet he still continues to say that it's a threat, even though you could see from my reaction, my real-time reaction, that I was confused by his concept, that I would, you know, that I would say that I would do that, that in any way, any of my words would show that I was threatening him in any possible way. Like, it was so confusing to me. I was like, huh? Like, where did you get that idea? Like, that's so weird.
It's a really
but
honestly,
this is why I keep calling him weak. And on Twitter, he was saying, I bet you get off on calling me weak. It's not that I get off. It's a legitimate analysis of his behavior. Like, if I'm coming to somebody and I'm talking to them like a normal human being, I'm not being aggressive, I'm not being, you know, and I'm talking in a very neutral way, right? I'm not being nice either, but I'm not being aggressive, I'm not being mean, I'm very neutral, and I'm just being honest and being neutral. And that person takes that as being something aggressive and like an attack, then that means that person is weak. That person is so weak that even regular neutral behavior makes them agitated and scared, you know, and thinking like, oh my god, I'm on the attack. And it's like, you're not on the attack. Like, you're just, you know, you just have a man talking to you who you are supposed to be a man too. Like, so how is that not how does that not make you weak? And he doesn't understand how it makes him weak. And he keeps doubling down on the weakness, which I'm about to show right now, because what we just saw was that this guy sent a message to the serfs, to the serfs TV, like, now at this point quadrupling down on his ability to show that how weak he is of a human being, that he had to go cry to a channel. I'm gonna read it first before we go to the video, right? I'm gonna put it on the screen and I'll read it. But he had to go cry to Serves TV. Wah! I made videos about Sean, and he sent people to harass me. Wah! On top of that, realize I've had my channel at one point for a long time was as small as this guy's channel, and I've got raided multiple times. I had wars against vegans and huge vegans, like Vegan Gains, and ask yourself, when my subs were really low, probably as low as his, and I didn't cry about it. You know what I'm saying? I took it on the chin. I was like, I started laughing with them. I argued back with them. And I even made something out of it where I was getting more subs because I kept having vegans come on and talking to them and debating them and arguing with them and, you know, getting better at debating that stuff. But instead of, like, using this for the positive, this dude wants to, like all regressives, I don't like lumping them all together, but there's a huge thing regressives do is play victim. And no matter how hard you want to explain to them, like, hey, look, I'm not trying to victimize you. This is the intention. This is what we're trying to do. They're still going to play the victim. There's no way for them to not play the victim because that's their default position. You know, their default position is I'm a victim. No matter what happens, someone is trying to victimize you. And it's like, no, that's like, you're confused as to what's happening, bro. How do I get this to pop up on the screen? Hold on. Remove this. This ain't what I'm trying to do. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this guy?
I think this guy's just very weak and
it's so funny.
Like, just, oh my god.
It's funny how he cannot understand the concept even of how weak he is. Like, I've tried to explain it to him, and I told him to his face on a voice chat. I told him, you're a crybaby. And he was like, oh, I'm a crybaby? And I was like, well, you're crying about this, right? That makes you a crybaby. Like, it's just obvious. Yeah, you are a crybaby. That's what you're doing right now is you did a whole stream and you put a caption at the beginning of your video to say, I'm being harassed by this person who isn't really harassing you. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you're being a crybaby.
Yeah.
And maybe you're mistaken. That was the whole point of me going on, was to be like, maybe you're mistaken and I can come on here and explain it to you and show you like, hey, look, you're making a mistake. This isn't what's going on. you know, really what's going.
He still called that harassment, even when you came in to say, like, whatever you thought was with negative intention, there was no negativity there at all.
No, of course
That
not.
he's
Did
just
I
such
sound
a
like I was
paranoid
saying anything
person.
negative? The worst I
No,
did was tell
no.
him that he's a crybaby, which he is. And then the only
There
other
was
thing I
a
did was say that we're not, like, give him the option and say, hey, if you wanted to be antagonistic, that's fine. He took that as a
but
threat.
we're not going to
Yeah,
be.
he took it as a threat. He asked me if it was a threat. I explained to him how it wasn't a threat. And then he still, you know, agrees to it at the moment. I watched it again and he says, sure. So I'm not sure if he's saying, sure, I want it to be antagonistic, or sure, I get what you're saying. It could be either.
Yeah.
Me being a charitable person, of which I was that entire discussion, and went in with the mindset of being charitable to the person and giving him all the charitability in this discussion, and him being completely non-charitable to me because he's an absolute douchebag and crybaby weak person, that he couldn't be
Yeah.
charitable towards me. So whenever I said something as in, hey, we're not here to be enemies, you know, we don't have to be enemies, but if you want it to be that way, it can. That's not going to be a problem with us. He took that to be a threat, when actually all I was saying was, you're not a threat to us. So, you know what I'm saying? And we don't have to be a threat to you. I don't know why you would want us to be a threat to you, but that's the point, is that he
No.
wants us to be a threat to him. That's what he wants, because these people need enemies. They want enemies. And if you come to them in a way that shows that you're not the enemy, they will twist that and find a way to make you the enemy.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And Surfs TV does the same thing. Look, he contacted Surfs TV. I can't get this thing to pop up on the OBS, by the way. But Surfs TV comes on.
it's
Surfs TV comes on. He reads it and says, "Actual Justice Warrior and AIU." He reads, and what does Surf say? Well, you know what's very likely with these alt-right chud and far-right blah blah. Neither of them are far-right. Devin votes Democrat. How is he far right? You know, how is he alt right and votes Democrat every time? Sean is on the right, but he's a light conservative. He's not super far right. He's not alt right. He's not even a huge Trump fan. So, like, for these people just want to make up stuff and lump you into their enemies. Oh, look at my big face.
This guy's got SJW9000 as his handles,
Yeah!
and streamer, activist, commentator, asshole, and he thinks that Devin and, like,
Yeah,
you know,
and then when you
Sean
come
are
in nice to him,
right?
that's who he is. I guess I should have read his bio, because his bio tells you that he's an asshole. And maybe I shouldn't have gone in and been charitable thinking that he's not an asshole, and I could talk to him and be like, hey, you know, since you're not an asshole, but no, he's an absolute asshole, yeah, for sure. And wants to be an asshole. He's not like the kind of person who's like, doesn't understand they're an asshole. I think no matter how much you explain it to him, he wants to be an asshole, and he will always be an asshole. Like, that's just who he is.
Yeah.
Fuck, I got this blurry shit. Well, you guys can see it.
Oh, you got it.
It's matching the other image that I have from my little face. It's just not separating them. So I'm gonna get rid of one. I'm gonna get rid of these filters. I'm gonna get rid of this. I'll just have to fix that another time. I see why it wasn't working now, because it wants to replace all the images with that image for some reason. As you can see, my little face got turned into this image now. Somehow. It doesn't even make sense that it would do that, but it's just linking them all together, so.
Why you do this?
Yeah, why you do this? Alright, so let me just stretch this one out, and we'll work on this one. This is gonna be funny. What makes me laugh the most and makes this great to me the most is that this is a total Anti-Warski moment, where this guy doesn't realize that what he's filmed himself and put out on the internet himself dooms him. You know, makes him look like a weak bitch. Like when Anti-Warski live streamed himself not wanting to fight and wanting to point a gun at some guys because he doesn't want to get into a fist fight, showing that he's a weak bitch. But Anti-Warski is such an idiot that he doesn't realize that the video he's showing to his fans is showing that he's a weak bitch. You know what I'm saying? And making him look like shit, and he doesn't even realize it. And that's what's happening with this guy. This guy's Anti-Warskiing this situation, thinking that he's posting a video that makes him look good, but it's actually making him look like a weak crybaby bitch. And here's where this is him quadrupling down as a weak crybaby bitch. So He posts to the Surfs TV. So I made actual Justice Warrior mad at me, which he's not. Sean went on a stream and explained it many times. He's not mad at him. You know, he explained it to him that actually we could be cool and we could do this whole thing. And if you want to work together and all this stuff, but this guy completely refused that. So, and you can see that in the video. And if he did edit it, if we watch it, he did cut it. I downloaded the whole stream so we can put the full unedited version.
Put the whole
and show
there, yeah.
what it is. But we'll go through it. I think he doesn't have the self-awareness to edit out things. I think that in his mind, none of that went wrong, and none of that showed he's a weak bitch, even though it completely did. Every second of it showed he's a weak bitch. But in his mind, he doesn't see that. He doesn't understand that he has very little self-awareness for that stuff. But to everybody else, they're looking at this and they're like, what? You just basically bitched out on these and acted like a total wuss. Like, what are you talking about? They were there trying to talk you out of this and say, hey, you know, like, we could be cool. It doesn't have to be this way. And instead, you were like, man, you harassed me. Joe Rogan is the same as calling me snowflake for some odd reason that doesn't make any sense, because we all know what snowflake means. And nobody knows what Joe Rogan means. If I call Chris right now Joe Rogan, she's just going to laugh because it doesn't mean anything to call her Joe Rogan, right? But if I call her a snowflake, she knows what I'm saying. She knows I'm saying you're weak and you can't take criticism, you know, and this and that. That has a meaning. It's an actual insult. But this guy's just hurt by being called, saying his voice sounds like Joe Rogan. Ooh, that hurts me. That hurts my little fifis. What a fucking baby. All right, so I made a actual Justice Warrior mad at me.
An ape.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's been called an ape, and he brushes it off like nothing, you know? And I've had, like I said, he wants to use the excuse of, I have a small channel. I've had a small channel, too, so what? I've been rated by hundreds of people. You got rated by a few dozen, and you're crying about it? I've been rated by 100, and I took that shit on the chin like a man, you know? Like, and act like a little bitch. Fucking, I'm being harassed. What a fucking baby. For a little context, I'm a political streamer with an extremely small audience. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit what the size of your audience is? The thing is, he gives a shit. Another thing that exposes his insecurities. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, because I have a small sub base, people can't come at me. People can't come talk to me. Anything that sends people over here is an attack because I'm so small. And it's like, who cares that you have a small sub base? You put yourself in the public sphere, people are allowed to come contact you. Like you were telling him, and he didn't want to take that. But you were telling him, you make your Discord public. And now you're bitching that people are jumping into your Discord. Why not make it private? You know what I'm saying? Give the link out to people who ask you so you know who's coming in if you don't want random people jumping in. But you do. That's the point, is because he's looking for this. He's looking for antagonistic things. Why I asked him during the stream, if you wanted to be antagonistic, just say it. You know what I'm saying? There's no problem with that. We're cool with that too. Either way, we're cool with that. I'm just here to explain to you that you got the intentions wrong. Whatever your intentions are, tell me, and I'm good with that. Like, if he told me at that instant, yes, I want this to be antagonistic, and I don't want to be cool with any of you, I want to fight with all of you, all I would have said was, okay, peace, and I would have bounced out of that fucking voice chat, because that's it. That my whole reason for being there is done. You gave me your answer. I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for answering my questions. Thanks for listening to me and responding. I get it. I'm out. But instead, he strung me along. You know what I'm saying? And kept saying, oh, okay, okay. Instead of just telling me, no, I don't like you guys. I think you guys, I'm going to lump you all into this far right, alt-right kind of thing, even though I explained to him when I got there that I'm on the left. I voted Democrat my whole life, never been on the right. But, you know, he wants to lump me in with all those people and hate on me. Fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's not a threat to you. That's me not being threatened by you. And we could have that. All you had to do is say, yes, I want to be enemies. And I would have said, okay, later. And I would have been out and been like, fuck this dude. I don't give a shit about him, you know? But instead, he wants to play this game, but, you know, because he's a weak bitch, and this proves it. But I've been making content a few months now, and I've made 3 videos on Sean Fitzgerald, aka Actual Justice Warrior. Well, recently, someone found it and brought it to his attention. Soon, I had the likes of Atheism is Unstoppable and others inviting me to their Discord. Devin never invited you to a Discord. Atheism is Unstoppable never invited this person to his Discord. That is a lie. The person who invited him was Chris, not Atheism Unstoppable. Devin Tracy had no idea this guy was even in the Discord, never interacted with this guy until that one stream. He was already in the Discord at that point. He has nothing to do with this except popping up on that one stream. Like, so that's already a lie. And others invited me to their Discord. But I do get mistaken as Devin. Yeah. But so obviously you're not. You went in and talked to him. Well, you went in on the stream and talked to him, so obviously. And this is written afterwards. So this is obviously him making up lies. I joined and they proceeded to ambush and harass me. Bullshit. I messaged Sean.
No one
Well,
has.
he didn't even come in the Discord. We invited him in. You right? Didn't you say come talk to us? And he said he didn't have the time at the moment. How is that? How is
Like,
that
just
an
tagging
ambush?
him,
Yeah,
asking
and a
him,
harass.
how's it
Yeah.
going?
How is that an ambush?
Harassment
That's him.
message?
You telling him, "Hey, come talk to us," and we were gonna talk to him like normal people and be like, "Hey, what's up, man? You know, blah blah blah." I messaged Sean directly and offered to have a discussion with him. The following day, I went live, and he cuts out so much context. So,
Yeah.
all right, let me tell you what happens in between here, right? I joined, and they proceeded to ambush and harass me. He's saying, which is bullshit. Which maybe happened a little bit. I wouldn't call that harassment. That just shows, again, this is how I'm showing that the way he perceives things as happening shows how much of a weak bitch he is. Us inviting him and telling him, hey, come in a voice chat and talk with us and come hang out with us is us ambushing and harassing him. But anyways, he messaged Sean directly to offer to have a discussion with him, period, right? And then he goes to the following day. But what he's skipping between that space is he comes out with a video with a caption at the beginning saying, I made a video about Sean Fitzgerald, and he harassed me and sent all these people to harass me. Meanwhile, 90% of the things that were being said was, hey, you sound like Joe Rogan. Wow, this guy sounds like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
He takes that as harassment. You want to take that as harassment? Whatever. But all that does is show how much of a weak fucking bitch you are. Because if somebody did that to me, I'd laugh with them, you know, and I'd have a good time with them. I wouldn't take that as harassment. I'd take that as simple ball busting, ribbing, you know, joking around, and I would laugh. And it's exactly what's happened to me before. I've had plenty of people come on my streams and call me names and say all these things. I've had people come on my streams and be mean as fuck, and I just ban them, laugh, and move on. But instead, this guy, I'm gonna play victim. I'm gonna send a message to Surfs TV, the guy that I suck the dick from all the time, because, you know, he's so beautiful. I'm gonna go message him and have him do... Surfs TV ain't gonna do shit for you, bro. Just to let you know, Sean already debated Surfs and fucking wrecked him. Sean, that's funny because we're watching Surfs TV and he's like, it's surprising to me because actually Just Swear actually has a degree and he couldn't say anything about the stats and stuff. He wasn't saying anything because what he said was, send me those stats so I can look over them. I can't tell you anything over a stream without reading through them. And I'm not going to sit on the stream and read pages upon pages of a research paper. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of a stream. Yeah. You know, like, that doesn't make any fucking sense, right? Meanwhile, Sean, who had the actual education, was wrecking the Surfs the whole time. And to the point where the Surfs deleted a video. It's funny that the Surfs TV brings up actual Justice Warrior and never brings up that he deleted a video. Because Sean made a video completely wrecking the Surfs TV and showing that every single thing he said in that video was complete bullshit. And he backed that up with evidence to the point where the Surfs, Lance, I'm going to call him Lance, had to erase that video. You know what I'm saying? And it's gone. And Sean still has clips of it. Go on Sean's channel. Sean made a response to that video. So those clips of the response to that video are still in Sean's channel. And you can go check the Surfs channel and see that that video is not there anymore. You know, he deleted it and made a whole different other video. I forgot what it was about. Was it probably about Jacob Blake or was it about, no, I think it was, what's his name?
Michael Brown? Is that
might have been Michael Brown. I don't know. I wish Sean was around now because he could explain it better, but that's all right. But yeah, I remember that period. I remember watching that stream. Sean wrecked him. This guy had no idea about law. On top of not knowing shit about law, which Sean knows a lot about, Lance is Canadian. He's not even American. So if he's going to know about law, he's going to know about Canadian law. You know what I'm saying? Not American law. Sean is actually schooled in American law. He went to school. He has education on criminal justice. Like, so how are you going to argue with somebody who has an education in criminal justice? Think you did a good job and then say, well, they couldn't reply to my stats and stuff in the middle of a stream? You want him to read an entire research paper and reply to you? Like, ridiculous. But anyways, that's all the stuff that happened in between. Was this guy made a video with a caption in front of it bitching about Sean. He harassed me. What happened next was I commented on him, why are you being such a bitch? You know what I'm saying? You seem like a cool guy to me. We contacted you to hang out. You're being a bitch. You're a crybaby bitch. That's what I told him. If you want, I'll come online and talk to you on a stream and explain this to you, but right now you're being a fucking bitch. You know, you can go onto his channel and look at the video of where I replied to him. One of them got deleted or just didn't make it through. It's in the spam folder. He doesn't go through his spam folder and accept them and then plays the thing of, well, there was cursing in your comments, so YouTube bumps those out. They delete them, which is absolute bullshit because I am a YouTube content creator to some extent, and I get those all the time too, and people come to me and say, oh, you're deleting my comment, but then I go look in the spam folder and they're there, and all I have to do is click accept, and then all of a sudden they're in my comment section. You know what I'm saying? And I do that, whether people are being extremely mean to me or not, because I'm not a weak pussy bitch like this guy. I don't mind having negative comments in my comment section and people calling me shit in there. It doesn't mean shit to me because I'm not a weak bitch. But that's what happened, right? So then right before, so now he's going to, the following day I went live, and he and about 100 of his fans, which is bullshit, it's not about 100, it was a couple of dozens, fans rated my stream and hate watched me, which is bullshit. Again, we already explained to him, Sean went on there and said, people aren't hate watching. This is fun. It's joking. They're not hate watching you, but he takes it as that because he wants to be, that's what I said. He's weak and wants to be in an antagonistic role. 3 fucking hours. Yeah, it was hilarious. We were laughing for 3 fucking hours. You know who wasn't laughing for those 3 fucking hours? Is him, because he is a humorless, weak bitch. Like, how can you be that weak? And like, dude, you could have laughed with us. Why not? But I know why not, because he wants to lump us all together, and he wants to be like, I hate these people. These are not my friends. They'll never be my friends. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we weren't asking to be friends. We were just saying that it doesn't have to be antagonistic. You know, it could be amicable. You can use Sean to jump off and make your platform work. You know what I'm saying? Get people from Sean's server. We invited you to Sean's server. Invited you to AIU server. Get people, get the low level dudes from those servers and be like, hey guys, you want to debate me on something? You want to argue something? You can have some good content on your shit instead of being this fucking weak bitch on your channel that's not growing for shit. Good luck with your 100 and something fucking subs, dude, if you're going to act this way and be a sensitive bitch whenever people come over to your channel. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be a sensitive bitch, how the fuck are you going to survive on YouTube? Like, holy shit, you're going to be crying every day. It was insane to experience, honestly. I've experienced it. It was not insane. You're a weak bitch to think that that's insane. That's what I'm telling you. He's acting like he's a unique person going through this event. But it's like, I've been through this myself. Yeah, do you know? I think anybody who's made... It's funny because he's like a new YouTube creator. Anybody who's made YouTube has been through this. Everybody has. When Devin first started, he went through this. You know, he had like Christian apologetics coming at him and all these things. When Sean started making videos, people would come at him. This isn't something new. Like, he's not the only one to go through this. But guess what all of those people had in common? They all were like, this ain't no big deal. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to trudge through. No problem. I'm not going to make videos about it. I'm not going to go bitch about it to bigger YouTubers, you know, all this shit. Because they're not crybaby bitches. That's the problem. And then he was having a problem with me calling him that, but I'm just calling him what he is. Like, just be who you are. If you're going to be a crybaby bitch, just admit it and be proud of being a crybaby bitch then. You know, if that's who you want to be. That's who you want to be that. Eventually, after the stream was over, I checked my Discord DMs and he basically blew me off. What does that mean? I don't know what he means by he basically blew me off.
Like, Sean, does he mean Sean didn't respond to him? So he's
Sean's
Sean ignoring him?
Dude, Sean wasn't even there the whole 3 hours. They were saying 3 hours. If you watch it, you can't really watch the stream and see the live amount of people there.
Kind of, yeah.
But from the beginning, when everyone jumped in, it was close to 100 people. And throughout the time, it dropped and dropped and dropped. By the time we got to like an hour and a half in, it was less than half of that were in there. It was like 20 people or something. By the time we got to the 3rd hour, there was like 4 or 5 people
maybe
in there.
10.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the way he's already exaggerating it to a point that was like 3 hours of hundreds of people dogpiling me, which didn't happen. Sean blew him off. How did that happen? At this point, I don't know what will happen with him from here. Nothing, because you blew your shot to like do something with that and gain some subs and shit. Because you're just such a weak, victimized bitch. Because I want to be a victim. That doesn't work. Good luck with that. Meant to unnerve me pre-debate? No, that's not what it was. I'm not sure. Oh, he's saying I'm not sure. It wasn't. We came on. The funny part is he wants to continue to presume and assume what things are, when me and Sean both went on and explained to him the intentions of this. We explained it very clearly.
Yeah.
But instead, he still wants to say, I'm not sure if this was targeted harassment, meant to unnerve me. No, you are sure. We told you. Or it's meant to shame me into oblivion. No, keep making videos. And we'll keep laughing at how pathetically weak you are. Like, it's fucking hilarious to us. And in fact, I might even try starting to support your channel and promote it and be like, hey guys, if you guys like content from weak bitch people, come watch this guy and laugh at him crying about everything. It's fucking entertaining as shit. Either it's pathetic as fuck and hilarious to watch. This is the self-awareness of this situation. He thinks it's hilarious that he came off like a weak bitch. Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
I'm rendering a segment from that stream. I'll post it here once it's done. I have to give Lance credit for staying so calm dealing with Sean. Why? What? The man is a clown, and it's easy to let him get under your skin. Why? I've talked to Sean for a long time. Sean has never gotten under my skin. I've never really even seen many people. Sean's talked to a lot of people and had straight debates with tons of people, and I've never seen them get under their skin and them get mad. Like, I've never seen that. No. And I even explained to him, Sean's a cool guy. You could talk to him. But what it is, like I said, this guy is so weak that you can't be straightforward with him. Talking to him straightforward, man, to him is an attack. It's like you're attacking his manhood because he's that weak. He's that self-conscious about how weak and how little of a man he is, that you just acting like a normal man, normal human being to this person is an attack on him. You know, that's his own self-conscious doing that. Who's that? Oh, Sean. What's up, Sean?
Yeah.
So, Sean, the Surfs guy...
Still going?
Yeah, if you look at my screen on my stream, I don't know if you see it on my stream, but if you look at it, this weak-ass motherfucker Mike contacted Lance, Surfs TV, and sent him a message, and Lance read it on live stream. Lance came up with some complete bullshit that he wrecked you in a debate. By saying that he was like, it amazes me that Sean has education in law and he couldn't have an answer to any of my stats. And I'm like, that's not what happened at all. What happened was Sean was like, we're in the middle of a stream. I can't look through pages and pages of research at this moment.
I did actually answer his statistics.
Yeah, you did.
When he was like, what about this study that I'm talking about? I'm like, well, if you want me to review that, send it to me. Which, of course, he never did.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then he's going to say he beat you and you didn't have an answer, but he never sent you the stats that you were supposed to go over and get back to him on. So
he brought up, he was like, the police aren't effective because they only 7% of like rapes or something like that result in conviction. And like that's because we measure arrests and all that year to year, and it takes longer than a year for a trial. If you look at those numbers, most of those cases are unresolved, the overwhelming majority of them. Also, the police are not in charge of convicting anybody of anything. They don't prosecute it. Like, that's what I said to him on stream. He didn't fucking...
He didn't get that. Oh my god. It's amazing. It's amazing that the Lance thinks... Dude, I watched that, and I don't understand how anybody could think Lance won that debate. Like, you wrecked him. He didn't have any knowledge of anything you were talking about. You're actually educated in these things. You actually researched these things, and you were highly... You knew what you were talking about.
Closing statement.
Yeah, he did. He had
a pre-prepared closing statement.
Which kind of shows you that the whole point of his stream... was to bounce off you, which is the part where I'm saying about this SJW9000 guy is failing hard. What the Surfs did was actually what I was expecting this guy to do, was use you as a launching pad. You know what I'm saying? And gain some stuff, which is what the Surfs did. He had this prepared thing at the end to say, trans motherfucking rights and all this stuff, watch my channel, blah, blah, blah. But this guy is just completely played, I am a pussy, I'm gonna weak out of this, I'm getting harassed, and then run to Surfs TV. I made a video about Sean Fitzgerald and he was harassing me. Wah, like a little baby. It's amazing.
It's like, how do you make a video where you're like, I wish he would respond to me. I wish he would respond to me in the video. And then I respond.
And then you respond and he cries. Oh, it's so funny.
He's like, his following is too big for him to respond to me.
Yeah, and then we do it.
I don't even respond to that. I just was like, hey, you sound like Joe Rogan.
And then he's trying to make fun of you for acknowledging a lesser YouTube with less things. And I'm like, that's more indicative of your behavior, that you wouldn't notice somebody smaller than you. Like, what kind of an asshole are you, Mike, that you wouldn't acknowledge someone lesser than you? Like, You think subs
Yeah,
make someone lesser than you? Is that what your mentality is? That's some fucking weak shit, you know? Like, God. Especially for somebody who's supposed to be on the left, a far left, and be an SJW. You're a social justice warrior, but subs are more important than you to you. Then you know, there's somebody with less subs than you wouldn't pay attention to. Like, how is that a social justice warrior? Fucking weak.
Right. Listen, I can't stay on long. I'm at a friend's house, but I saw that you were streaming, and like the fact that he's still crying about it is
it's
amazing.
funny. I said I was saying at this.
Him, and I'm like. He said I was harassing him, and he's like, "Oh, I can't wait for the response video that you're gonna make." I'm like, "I'm not gonna."
Well, now I'm not gonna make it because you want it, because you're being a weak bitch and you're complaining about me harassing you. Why am I gonna make a video about you? You're just gonna cry and say I'm harassing you more. You know what I'm saying? So why do it?
I'm like, he's like, you're harassing me. I'm like, okay, so I'll just leave your Discord. I'll delete the tweet, so like nobody can find you again, and I'll leave you alone.
And now he's like writing Surf Stevie like, I don't know what's gonna happen with him now. Nothing. You ruined it. You could have actually used this to get some subs and find some people to have intelligent debate with and grow your channel, but instead you acted like a crybaby bitch and lost it all. And now you're crying to the Surf TV, help me, Surfs, help me, which the Surfs ain't gonna do shit for you. Because you're nobody.
My plan was to have him on. Like, my plan was to have him on, tell him where he was wrong, and then and tell him that he should go in the Joe Rogan thing.
Yeah.
And then
and give him a chance to plug his channel. And you know, like you do with everybody.
He went immediately to crying.
Yeah, he went straight to crying like a little weak bitch. And that's why I called him that. And that's why on the stream I told him in person, you're a crybaby. He was like, well, you called me a bitch. And I was like, actually, I called you a crybaby bitch. Because the whole point of it is you're a crybaby, right? But yeah, at this point, he's quadrupling down on being weak.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it back and read his statement because it's hilarious that somebody's releasing a statement about me saying he sounds like Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh yeah, I like how he didn't bring that up at all in his message to Surfs. He didn't bring up at all that the harassment was a bunch of people coming in and telling him he sounds like Joe Rogan. That was the harassment.
What's amazing is that I harassed him by going on his thing when he asked me to come on.
Yeah, and giving him attention, which is what he wanted, right? He was bitching about that he wouldn't get your attention because he's such a small channel. Then he gets your attention and he cries about it.
I gotta go. I'll watch this back later. Enjoy the stream.
Yeah, no problem. We're gonna go through this video.
Hey, Sean. Later.
How are you doing?
Sean.
I'm good.
Alright, I'm doing good too, but I gotta go.
Alright, Sean.
Okay.
Take care, man.
Later.
Alright, so he says, after calling Sean Fitzgerald, aka actual Justice Warrior, out for his targeted harassment campaign, he and his friends wanted to come debate me and set the record straight. First off, I never said I wanted to come debate him. He never asked me to come on and debate him. He never said that. So the debate thing, if he's lumping me in that, he's being a liar. That never happened. What I told him is I'll come on and explain to him why he's being a crybaby. And then his response to me was, I'm going to start streaming around 8:30 Eastern time if you want to jump on and chat. He said chat. He didn't say debate, you know. If he did say debate, I would say that. And if we'll probably see that at the beginning of this. He labels that stream debating chuds, blah, blah, blah. And you see me in the chat say, what do you mean debating? I thought we were going to chat. You know, I thought we were coming on. I was coming on to talk to you. I wasn't coming on to debate you. But let's see. Where's the next part? Set the record straight. Round one, alphabet. If you want to take it as a malicious thing, like, that's what you want. And that's what you want. That's what you want. Ask for that. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want, that's how you want it. Yeah. But for what? But you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Is that see, he is not listening. This is where he starts saying, oh, is that a veiled threat? When I said, but for what? Like, why would we make this antagonistic is the point, right? Like, he completely ignored the part where I'm like, but for what? And just heard the first part and completely ignored everything.
It doesn't have to be this.
He just blows himself up.
Like, you guys can have a cool discussion. Everybody can have a cool discussion. You want me to come on another time, have a discussion with you about other political things, other stuff? That's cool. Like,
are you like vaguely threatening me right now?
What? No. How is that a threat?
Yeah, see,
No,
so I'm like, how is that a
what
threat?
do you mean by if you want it like that? Like, what is
No, I'm
that supposed
saying
to
if you
mean?
want it to be antagonistic, go for it. I'm not gonna stop you. You know, it's
Well,
like,
how could you?
I don't give a shit.
Vaguely threatening.
Right, he says, and he says, "How could you?" Like he doesn't understand the expression. I'm not gonna stop you. I'm not saying I was gonna literally try to stop you. What I was saying is, I'm not gonna talk you out of it. I'm not here to say, "Don't be antagonistic, please." Was my point. My point was like, if you wanted to be antagonistic, just say it. I'm not gonna stand in your way. I'm not gonna try to talk you out of it. That's your thing. You know, I'm here to just explain to you what the intentions were, and you were such a weak bitch that you couldn't understand that. That you kept thinking it was something
Trust me, you
antagonistic.
could never hurt my feelings, Sean.
But he did hurt your
apparently
feelings.
I did. You have to
Paranoid.
put a disclaimer.
Yeah,
about
Sean, I love that he clipped this part out of Sean telling him, apparently I did hurt your feelings because you're saying I'm harassing you when I didn't mean to harass you. So therefore your feelings are hurt, right? Like, or you
Much
wouldn't have
bigger
seen that as
YouTuber
harassment.
Sent his audience.
Yeah, don't.
to
That
say
doesn't
I- to
embarrass
say
you,
that-
bro.
to
You're
say
not
that
See,
I-
he moved the goalpost now. It was talking about whether his feelings were hurt too. And then Sean explains to him, well, you said I was harassing you, so obviously your feelings are hurt. And this guy goes, that doesn't embarrass you, bro. Like, what? Like, what do you mean?
God.
You
You totally just moved the conversation and skipped that part where he said, yeah, your feelings are hurt.
almost
that I
100,000
sounded like a guy.
subscribers, and you are trying to fucking dogpile somebody with like,
Nobody tried to dogpile him. You hear this? Dogpile, what?
less
Where does
than
he get that?
200.
I'm not try-
You're not
I'm not
embarrassed,
trying
bro?
I'm
You
not trying
should
to
be
dogpile you.
embarrassed.
Yeah, and Sean's telling him there. See, he's just talking over Sean, but you hear Sean in the background say
Yeah.
3 or 4 times, I'm not trying to dogpile you. He's there to explain to you his intention for being there. And instead of listening to him and being like, oh, okay, I misunderstood, but I still want this to be antagonistic, so get out of here. You know what I'm saying? He could have said that. But he's such a weak bitch that he has to divert it and be like, that doesn't embarrass you? That doesn't embarrass you? Like, what? What do you mean? Why- Of
That's
course
the
it doesn't
dumbest thing
embarrass
I've
me because
heard
I
in my
didn't
fucking
dogpile.
life. What is wrong with you?
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
set it down.
Oh, God, Zorro. Oh, my God.
Okay, so
Zorro.
your
This one
organization.
went on
No
for
way.
a little long.
Yeah.
Where
And
something needed to be
No,
clarified.
no, I think I made myself very clear, and I think I've
And
explained
this guy did not
Your
understand
analogy
you at
was
all
just very
the whole time.
odd. No.
Yeah, he didn't understand anything you were trying to say.
How do you figure?
And then he tried to make, the snowflake and
Well,
Joe
I've
Rogan
explained
analogy
it
that
to you
are
a
not
couple
the same
times,
thing.
like, to
That
use your
analogy was
example of
stupid.
like weaponizing Yeah, words. like
Mhm.
guys, does
If
he
Joe
not
Rogan's
sound
the example
like
of the-
Joe Rogan? Sean even said,
Yeah, he sounds like Joe
"Half the
Rogan.
social
He
justice
surely
warrior
does.
thing, that's not working out
He
for you."
definitely does.
It's
Oh,
like
wait, there's
two
a
Joe
chat here.
Rogan
Let me pop out
characters.
the chat. I forgot I had a chat. What's up, everybody in chat? Haven't streamed in a while. But this funny incident happened, and we had to do it and show these people and show you guys. If you guys are here to look at somebody who's extraordinarily weak and laugh at them, this is the right stream to be in. Oops, what am I doing? Go back to this.
The word being weaponized that you're going to use now, that's very odd.
Okay,
Hey,
you don't
Steph.
have to like the word in and of
But
itself.
that's
It could
the
be
word
anything.
that-
I could
Yeah,
okay, it could be
that's the
anything.
word.
For example,
Yeah, his
it could
example
be
doesn't work here.
Snowflake.
Snowflake doesn't work
That
because
is an
snowflake.
innocuous
No.
word.
He's saying it. See, this is where he lies too. He's saying it's an innocuous word. Snowflake is not an innocuous word. We know what snowflake means. There's a meaning to it.
Yeah.
If I ask the chat right now, hey chat, if I call you Joe Rogan, what do you think that means? And if I
You're
call you a
offended by that?
snowflake, do you know what that means? Yeah. Do you feel offended if I go, hey, you sound like Joe Rogan? Is that something that offends you? Is that a regular insult to people? But yet snowflake is a regular insult that's used all the time, been used consistently for like the last 5 years all over the internet to describe a very particular type of person, right? Like saying somebody sounds like Joe Rogan, their voice sounds like Joe Rogan, I don't think has ever been used as an insult for anyone, like in history. There
Even
is
the
no history
example
behind that.
he had like an example that he wrote out somewhere explaining if somebody spammed in the chat
Mm-hmm.
a certain word a bunch of times. I really don't think that example works either, because saying like a color multiple times, that's not.
He did that. We saw
like
that he
the
was doing
color
that in his
blue.
Discord, and he was like, look, and he typed blue over and
If I
over again and
Type
said,
blue over again.
you see that spamming it? And then I was like, if I saw that in my
You
chat,
can't
that wouldn't.
compare that.
No, but not only that, you can't compare that. It's not the same thing. But also, that doesn't
Yeah.
bother me at all. If you guys want to spam
No.
blue in my chat over and over again, that doesn't bother me in the slightest.
Like,
Go for
cool.
it. Like, why is that a problem? I don't get it. Like, how is that something to be ashamed, upset about? I don't get it. But I do get then he's a weak bitch, and that's why. And that's why it bothers him, because he's weak. He can't handle these little tiny things that are nothing, you know, that is not a problem at all. But he can't handle it. Look, the chat's typing out blue. Here, let me put that in there too. I'm gonna harass myself. Oh my god, I'm harassing myself. I typed blue in the chat. Oh my god. But as long as you guys don't say I sound like Joe Rogan, because then I'll feel like I'm harassed.
In and of itself, but you know how that can be weaponized against people.
But you know how that can be weaponized. Don't play fucking stupid. So saying someone's voice sounds like Joe Rogan is the same as Snowflake? How does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense at all.
I'm gonna keep doing this.
What an idiot. What an idiot. See, I don't even think he's just a crybaby. I think he's also very stupid. Like... But that goes with most of these regressive dudes. Like, fucking the Surfs is stupid, Vosh is stupid. They have their moments where they're smart, but then they have their areas where they're really stupid. And it tends to be with a lot of critical thinking and social interaction stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're intelligent when it comes to keeping information and having it at hand at the moment.
Right.
But that's it. When it comes to actual critical thinking on the spot, they suck at that. Like, once you get them off a template or off of usually their debates and their arguments are templates. And the second you move it from that template and you give them an answer they're not expecting, that shit gets completely derailed because they have zero critical thinking skills. And they sit there and they're like, and they don't know what to say because you totally threw off their pattern. They thought you were going to say one thing and they had the perfect answer for that, but you didn't give them that answer. So now their perfect answer is left out in the middle of nowhere and they have nothing, you know? And then a guy like this guy, where every little thing, and no matter how you explain to them what your intentions are, they're still gonna cry like a weak pussy bitch and be like, my nipples hurt, they're getting chafed. It's so like, it's so gross. Like, weak people are so gross to me, man. It's I don't get it. I don't get why choose to be this weak when you don't have to be.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why not just be honest too? Like, if you wanted this to be antagonistic, I gave you many chances to tell you. Like, so just tell me. You know?
You took what happened as a targeted harassment campaign?
Sure. Yeah.
Really? We came in and having fun, man. Like, we're all laughing. 99% of the comments were like, "You sound like Joe Rogan. How is that a harassment?"
Well, it's not the content of what you're saying, it's the spamming of what you're saying.
Yeah, these are internet people, man.
The spamming?
Any type of spamming is a harassment.
No, you understand the difference though, right? Between just saying something and then
spamming doesn't bother me.
I
mean, if it bothered me, I just ban the person.
The difference, right?
Or block them.
Yeah,
He's
got the controls there.
No, it was just rather annoying, to be honest.
That's why I have all these mods in the chat.
But I'm just saying, I feel like you're being a bit of a crybaby.
Yeah.
Taking it that harshly.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Because we all came in good fun. But you don't know us, so you don't understand context and stuff. But
this is what he Dunning-Kruger's. And I just explained to him right there, don't Dunning-Kruger. Because it's like, listen, I know us, you don't know us. Right? So Dunning-Kruger is the ability for somebody who has little knowledge of something to think that they have the most knowledge in that. And they're going to tell the expert who has spent their life studying that knowledge that they're wrong on it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the Dunning-Kruger effect. The person with the least amount of knowledge in that thing is the person who, for some reason, thinks they know the most in it and will be completely stubborn about them knowing the most about it, even if they're talking to, like I said, right here, I know the intention of it because I was part of it. He doesn't want to accept that. And he's like, no, you guys were harassing me. I'm telling you, I'm the person who was involved in it. I know Sean very well. Like, I know how he operates. He doesn't operate in the landscape of, let's go harass this person and make him cry. You know, he doesn't operate in that world. So for him to think that is a Dunning-Kruger moment and tell me that and argue with me about it, that's a Dunning-Kruger moment right there, if I've ever seen one.
Discord servers to come talk to us and hang out with us. You know, we're not looking for to be antagonistic.
I even told him, I asked you, we sent your invites to come.
Sean has a lot of fans and followers, so obviously you're gonna get one or two people who don't know how to act. But in the most part, if you looked at us and the people who stuck around and talked to you and were like responding to the stuff, I don't think we were being.
That's why I find it funny that he didn't cut this out.
poking fun, ribbing you a bit.
Yeah, that's
I
what
think you were.
I'm
How
really
funny is that? Look, and he's even making a face like,
cut
okay, like he's
Like, oh,
understanding
really?
me, and then he switches. And that's where I tell you that he wants this to be antagonistic, and he wants to play the
Yeah.
crybaby, and he wants to try to flip this to look like we were the bad ones here, that we came in with the intention of destroying his channel. But the truth was, we were just coming in good fun. Obviously, there's some goofballs. Sean has a large channel. This is why when I was a smaller channel, I would go after bigger channels. And they would come dogpile me, and I thought it was funny, you know? And I would play along and shit. And that got me more subs when I would do that, you know? And I thought it was funny. I would go after Ask Yourself. I would pop up in Ask Yourself's live streams and Vegan Gaines' live streams and call him names and then poke at him, you know what I'm saying? Because I figured that's what he was doing. I figured he was poking at Sean. So now we're going to come poke back, you know, and we can poke back and forth and have a couple of laughs, and then they can have a debate, you know, and he can promote his channel. But instead, he crybabies out.
Or
And I explained all that.
really bad stuff and focusing on that, which was really the tiny minority of it.
Well, see, it's really hard to tell when like you start getting like random people messaging you on Twitter, and then you start getting all these like really weird comments on your videos, and then suddenly like dozens upon dozens of people start
More people
rating
show up.
your stream. Yeah, you know, it's real hard to
I think
suss out
it's
the
hard to
individual people.
differentiate, yeah, who's goofing around and who's like a serious.
But
douchebag. I
all
can
things
get that.
considered, though, all things considered, I don't want you guys to take this the wrong way. I'm not angry. I'm annoyed, but I'm not angry. And I really don't appreciate you calling me a bitch.
Yeah, hey, I'm just being honest.
You're being honest.
I'm being honest.
I'm from New Jersey, man. I'm honest as fuck.
I mean, if you're going to act like a bitch, I'm going to call you a bitch.
By being
Maybe
truthful.
not big like crybaby.
I mean, if he wants to take offense to me being a bitch, I'm just explaining to him why I called him a bitch, because you're acting like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. I'm being honest. From New Jersey. I'm not going to sugarcoat this shit. If you act like a bitch, I'm going to tell you, hey, why are you acting like a bitch? Stop acting like a bitch. You know? Stop being a fucking crybaby. And even still, then I was like, oh, I'll downgrade from bitch to crybaby so he doesn't get offended or whatever. But crybaby is a...
I'll demote that a bit. I think you're being a bit of a crybaby, but maybe it's because of a misunderstanding.
Yeah, I'm not giving him the chance. Maybe you're misunderstanding what's going on. You're
We
not
can
really a
agree to
crybaby.
disagree.
Wrong. Yeah, maybe you're taking it wrong, but
He
we
just
came
wants
in
to
have
agree
fun.
to disagree.
We're just
He
joking.
just wants to agree to disagree. Like, what is the agreement to disagree on whether you're a crybaby or not? You're obviously a crybaby.
Sure. I mean, are you
Sean's
not having a good time right now?
I know, Sean. I'm on the left, honestly. I've voted Democrat my entire life. I'm 41 years old. I may not be as far left as you, but I'm definitely
He's
not
so
on the right.
negative.
I'm not a
Yeah, and he
Trump
makes
fan
a
at all.
weird
Hated him
face
my
about
entire
you
life. I
not
think
being
he's
as
a
left as
douchebag.
him.
I think he should be charged with sedition for what he just did. That's debatable what the charge should be, but that's what I think it should be. And but I know Sean. I've spoken to him many times. We talk like on a daily basis. He's a good dude. He's not gonna come like if he talks to you, he's not gonna talk to you to like completely shit on you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, even with, if you see Sean when he debated Surfs TV and he debated Vosh, he was very polite to them. He didn't come in like trying to bash them and destroy them. They had regular arguments, you know. And it was actually, if you want to see who are the people who are getting emotional and agitated in those discussions, it's Vosh and the Surfs. Sean is chill the whole time. Even when they're getting loud and acting up, Sean's just chill and keeps going through what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Not letting them interrupt him with their agitation. He's just like, yeah, well, I mean, this is what this says. This is what happens when this happens.
talk to you like a normal man-to-man, have a discussion. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to. It doesn't have to be this crazy antagonistic debate of oh, I'm on the right, I'm on the left. People are on different spans of the right. Like, don't take like Sean isn't Nick Fuentes. Those are two completely different politically ideological people. They may both be on the right, but Nick Fuentes is super right.
Wait,
right?
stop.
Sean isn't.
Hey,
So
Alf. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, calm down.
Okay.
Did I ever insinuate?
Yeah, I don't know why he
that
thought. I
Sean
guess
and
it's because I
Nick
kept talking, but I wanted to finish my train of thought. He's cutting me off.
Yeah.
And this is why the problem was he cut me off to ask me a question that didn't have to do with it. If he let me finish explaining, he would have understood that I was just using those people as examples and not saying that he said that. But he stopped me to be like, are you saying that I'm saying? No, that's not what. And I explained that. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. If he just didn't cut me off, I would have gotten that, you know?
the same?
No. I'm just making a point. I'm just saying don't
Because
conflate all the
it's just
conservatives
it
together.
was a
like, they don't know how
weird
to
it was
act
a
the same.
weird correlation
Why
that you
is
brought
that-
between them two.
Why is it a weird correlation? Sean is not super right. You know, he's
No,
just like a
I
little
don't. I
past
didn't
center.
understand why he got.
Yeah, yeah.
hung
How
up
is
for
that a
it.
weird correlation? And Nick Fuentes is very far right to me. At least that's the way I see it. Nick Fuentes is very far right. Sean's a little past center in the right. You know, on the right side. That's how I see it, at least. That's why that was that example. That's why he said that's a weird correlation. But I don't see why that's a weird. Maybe it's weird because he didn't realize what I was saying. But what I was saying was using two polar opposites to show that just because someone's on the right, they don't have to be the same. They can be completely different people, you know, and completely different ideologies.
I just decided to
So
take
we're-
two extremes. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
sure,
One
sure.
person
Yeah,
goes to the
okay.
center,
See,
one
don't
person
cut me
really
off,
far
Dick.
to the right.
Sure.
Like they don't conflate everybody on the right as acting the same and being these chuddy, like
Yeah, and now I have to explain it even more.
kind of guy. Debate me, bro. You know, like you can have a good conversation with Sean and discuss these things.
Sean is as radical as Leave It to Beaver.
Kind of
That's
slugfest,
funny.
blood sport shit we see on the internet all the time.
Sean
You know,
Fuentes.
Sure.
Fuentes.
Fuentes.
That's what I'm saying. He's a genuine dude. So I mean,
I'll
I
never not
can
call him
understand
that,
you.
but
You
no.
are a smaller channel, so I could see like, yeah, you got a big influx of stuff.
And I'm
of
talking
course,
to him
it's
from
hard to
experience.
know.
I'm
The people were
same
being
thing.
total
I've
douchebags,
been
the
a
people
small
just
channel
goofing
team.
around.
I know
But
exactly what
in the
happened.
end, yeah, it's not what you think.
But
it
what
is.
I'm not gonna do is be a
You
crybaby
took it way
bitch about
harder
it.
than it was. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so then I can count on you to stick around for your support, right?
For my support. Why would I support you
I'll
if you're
come
gonna
down
be a
and talk to you if you
crybaby?
want.
That's why I was like, I'll
I'm
come
down
by, talk to you, I'll hang out with you,
We
make
probably
some
have things we
content.
disagree on, but there's
That's
probably
the
a lot of
part
stuff we
that's
agree on as well.
confusing
Yeah.
to me because
What
that
kinda-
one
what kinda-
We could probably
he
have some
seems to
This is-
want
conversations.
people to
This-
watch and us to watch like his stuff, but then he'll be rude about it and then do stuff like this. It's like, why would people stick around?
Yeah, why would people stick around if you're gonna act like a bitch then? Like I would follow you and support you if you didn't act like a bitch. And I would have came on, I even offered like, yeah, I'll come on and we could talk about stuff. It's funny, like right here, I tell him, look, and I can even come on and we could talk about things we agree with, and I know there's things we disagree with. And what he does is focus instantly on what we disagree with. You know, oh, well, what do we disagree with? That's where it shows you
Yeah.
he wants to be antagonistic. He could have easily gone to something like, what's something we agree with? You know, let's talk about that, you know?
Now, you said that you vote Democrat.
Oh,
What
no,
kind
then
of
he went to the
flavor
Democrat thing,
do
yeah.
you favor?
My
As
guy
far,
was
as
Yang
far as
this
the
time.
left.
My guy was Yang this time around during these elections. I really like Andrew Yang.
Look at the face he makes over Yang, or is he reading the chat? I can't tell.
Been a big proponent of his. Biden, I'm not
I'm
a
not
huge
sure.
fan of
He
Biden,
just
but I
always
mean,
has such
obviously,
like a
Yeah.
he's way better than Trump. You know? And to
Face.
me, he was better than some of the other politicians that were there as well.
Like how do you figure? What made you support Andrew? Because there were some
Andrew
things I
Yang.
liked about Andrew
He
in the
didn't even, he
beginning
asked me a question.
until I looked more into
Goes
his
into
UBI
something else.
plan. I think in its concept, it's great. I think in execution,
Okay.
it would be terrible.
So this is the part where we discuss UBI, and this is where I want to explain something, because after thinking about this and watching this one more time, I realized something. That this is a UBI, the way that Yang was describing it, is a perfect litmus test for regressives. When he first came out with this, right, the idea is UBI is kind of a restructuring of welfare, right? We don't get rid of welfare, but you choose between welfare or UBI. You can't have both. And the purpose of that is we spend a lot of money on welfare, and a lot of that goes to waste. It goes to waste on buildings, on the employees there, on the supplies, on the electricity. And the poor people who really need help aren't getting that. They're getting very little of that help because most of that money goes into the buildings and all this other shit that we don't need. So instead, why don't we and instead of charging people on their work and all this stuff like we do, like to get the welfare money, like why don't we just charge a sales tax that gets collected and everybody gets $1,000? That's a whole new welfare. Now, he tries to place it in the way which most regressives do. This is where the regressives fail. They try to put it in a way that's like, oh, you're getting rid of welfare. Why not have both? You can have both. I'm not against having both. But money is finite. You can't just say, we're going to have both and you make it work. Yang's plan was, we have enough to do this. If we split them up and we make this the new welfare, and anybody who needs more than $1,000 can stay on welfare, but everybody who's getting less than $1,000 on welfare can jump on UBI, which is better for them. Why not? That's what we have the money to do right now. We can do that. He did the math and showed, like, we have the money for this right now. We can fund this. Now he's saying, why don't we do that and welfare? Because we don't have the math for that. Show me the math for that. If you can show me the math for that, then maybe you should run for office and show the world, the country, how you can have a full welfare and UBI at the same time and how we can fund this. Go for it. good luck. You know what I'm saying? But right now, the math shows we have enough for this UBI, but not both. So what better than to have this UBI? This is where regressives fail. In the sake of them, because they're emotional creatures and can't critical think properly, what they go to is, because you can't have UBI and welfare, I would rather have this really poor starving person only get $600 a month. And with that $600 a month is split into food stamps, housing tickets, and then spending money. And they have to go to this building once a month and talk to this person and get like a talk about, oh, what are you doing to find work and all this stuff. And if they get a job, a part-time job, then they'll get cut off their welfare, even if they're making less than the welfare is giving them. So now they're only making $500, or they got to leave that job to go back to making the $600 from welfare. He'd rather have a poor person have that than abandon that and give a poor person $1,000 a month. And that is the exact definition of what a regressive is. For the sake of his emotional attachment to being like, we gotta help poor people, he's abandoning critical thinking and would rather have poor people suffer than than help them out incrementally. It's like, give us all or give us nothing is their mentality. And this is why progressives are ruining the Democratic Party, because this mentality stifles all of our work. Every time we try to move forward incrementally, the progressives come and go, fuck that incremental movement, we're moving all the way, and they try to push it all in. Vote on this or you're a racist, you don't care about poor people. And then people don't vote on those things, and what do? They look at the rest of the Democrats and go, we fucking hate you, we're not on your team, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, the other Democrats are like, we knew that wasn't gonna work, we're here trying to pass incremental change so we can build up to that. You know what I'm saying? Instead, you're making people suffer longer instead of helping out a few people at a time and more people at a time. You're saying, yeah, instead of helping, let's say we could come out with a plan tomorrow that pulls 20% of people out of poverty. 20% of people at the top of the line of poverty, the people that get the most, they get pulled out. Whoop, you're not in poverty anymore. Everybody under it, you know, we're still working on it, right? And then a progressive comes and says, oh, my plan says let's pull them all out of poverty. Okay, but doing that has all these other effects, right? And when you go to pass it, the people on the right, the other Democrats are like, this isn't worth all these effects. Like, we can't vote for this. Sorry. So now the progressive is saying, oh yeah, well, fuck pulling those 20% out of poverty then. Keep them all in poverty then. If you can't pull them all out, keep them all in poverty then. That's how progressives work. That's how this is the definition of what a regressive is, and this is why we people came up with this term. TYT was doing this with race baiting. To them, what they're doing, this is why they think they're progressive. They think they're progressing something, because they're coming out and they're calling out all this stuff. These things are racist, black people being attacked, blah, 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 blah. But what's actually happening is they're stoking the fire of racial tensions, and they're making things worse. In the idea that they're making things better, they're actually making things worse and don't even realize that they're making things worse. And the things that they make worse, the outcome of the things they're doing that is coming back and making things worse, they use that as an example to show, look how bad it is. We need to fight. We need to fight. You see how bad it is? And it's like, that's that bad because of you, because you stoked this. The far right was created by the far left. There was a huge feminist push, and they were pushing and pushing. Oh, feminist this, feminist that, feminist that. Guess what happened? A bunch of fucking spurgy kids in their basement said, oh yeah, fuck that. Blah, I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna be as far right as possible. That's how humans work. Too bad. Like, learn how humans work and understand it. And understand that things aren't like that. You can't just force full change whenever you want. Sometimes you gotta take the small steps battle, you know, and take those little steps. But he can't do that. And this is again, this entire UBI discussion is him basically telling me that if I can't give people on welfare $1,600, he would rather them have $600 than $1,000. Remember that. Remember that. That's exactly what he's telling me. He's telling me poor people should have 6,600 or 1,600, not 1,000. That's what he's telling me. Where I'm saying they should have 1,000 at least for now.
Oh, what don't you?
And then we can work on getting them more.
That's this time.
Yeah.
What was one of the aspects you thought?
Simple.
Was terrible?
It's super simple. This is a basic concept that $600
Well, it never actually got
is not as
executed,
good as
but
$1,000.
in the proposal, at
I feel like
least,
they
and
think
the way
everybody's
he
gonna
would
suddenly
talk about
just
it,
like stop
I
working
didn't like
if
the
you're not
idea that
like
people
on
would get
some
their
type of government
entitlements.
assistance and just take the $1,000.
Some
Like,
people say that. I don't think that's possible. I don't think, for one, most people in this country can't live on just $1,000. That's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see that as being a thing. Like, I don't think people are just going to stop working. Who can live off just $1,000? Like, not many people.
Yeah.
Not many people. Like, most people work now to do that, you know, and can't live off $1,000 and are living check to check and struggling, you know, just making $1,000 a month. Rent
cut in
itself
order to get a UBI.
at
I
its
think that that's
cheapest in a
kinda
major city is like
counterproductive.
$800.
I don't think
you
people
know,
need less food stamps to have more just liquid cash.
less food stamps. See, look, I don't think people need less food stamps to have more liquid cash. So he would rather someone get $600 in food stamps than $600 in cash. How does that make sense? How does that make any sense? If you can't say you can only have one, and that's the rule. You know, you can have both maybe in the future, but if you get one that's better, then you can keep pushing for the other, right? So why wouldn't you say, let's switch over to just giving them $600 cash and we'll work on an extra $600 food stamps from there. You know what I'm saying? But he won't, because this is all or nothing. That's how progressives work. It's all or nothing. They don't believe in incremental advancement.
No, but
Liquid
it's
cash
better.
can be
But the
siphoned
problem
off from
with
like
that,
other. It can be extracted from other sources, whether it be rent, whether it be just prices of things going up in general. Like that doesn't really do anything for anybody.
it can be, but it's
Cash doesn't do anything for anybody. Cash is way better than food stamps. And in fact, anybody who's lived in the ghetto knows all about selling food stamps for less money so that you have cash to spend on other stuff besides food.
gives us money, and on top of that, it's better than that plan. They don't have to leave those plans if they're getting more off of the one plan. You know, if they're getting more, stay on welfare. Nobody's telling you to leave welfare. But if you want to have a permanent $1,000 a month straight cash without having it be food stamps and you having to go on the street, man, if you lived in the hood, you know what it's all about. You go on the street and you sell your food stamps for like half the price and shit so you can have some cash to buy other shit. So instead of that, you can just have straight $1,000 cash, no questions asked, every month. You know what I'm saying? That's a better plan than being on welfare. All it is really you're adding the safety net. It eliminates the reason to even have a welfare.
Yeah,
because everybody
you don't even
already
need welfare
have
because
that
it's
safety
lifting
net.
you out of poverty.
You know what I'm saying? It's for everyone.
And anybody who's so poor that $1,000 can't help them, like say they have 8 kids or something, then they can be on welfare. And the welfare actually would be able to focus on them specifically better than being stretched out among all these other people, you know, about all the people. Basically, I think Yang was saying like 60 to 80% of people on welfare are getting $600 a month in benefits, $600 to $800 a month in benefits. That's a lot of people. Imagine 60 to 80% of people on welfare don't need to be on welfare anymore. They're getting enough money for them to survive. And they also have the ability to go get a job and still get that money. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to being afraid that if they got a job, they're not going to be getting this assistance anymore. That assistance is always there. It's the net for everybody. Everybody gets $1,000. So it's always there. You know, and now you can go and get a part-time job too if you need more money, you know. But instead, he doesn't get that. Like, he'd rather people
Not
be
really
poor.
though, because I mean, different people have like different needs though. I mean, you might have more of a food need than say.
Right, so if you have cash, buy more food. That's why it works better. It's so weird, right? The people have different needs is an example of why direct cash transfer is better. Right?
Yeah, like he kind of made the argument.
Yeah, he's making the
why
argument for
money
me.
would be better.
Yeah, he's making my argument. Like, if people have specific needs, why would you give them food stamps then? Wouldn't you give them cash so they could spend it on anything they want?
Yeah.
This is bullshit too. He said food stamps go further than cash. No, it doesn't. People sell their
No, it
food
does
stamps
not.
for
That's
cash
not
all the time. My mom used to do that so that she can buy me shoes and buy me a shirt to go to school. Like, she would sell some of the food stamps and we'd eat a little less and be like, well, you know, we can eat a little less this month so that you could fucking get some shoes and shirts for school.
Yeah.
You know, like clothing or maintenance repairs on your
That's why
vehicle or
cash-
something like that.
That's why cash is the
Yeah, that's what I'm telling them. That's why cash is the best thing.
It's a safety net. It's not a needs net. It's a safety net. So it's like you don't fall below a certain level.
Yeah, he's not getting it.
Ever.
Look at his brain.
That's basically
No.
it. As long as you're a U.S.
Like,
citizen, you will never fall.
Lost. Then that's
below
that.
the level.
That, you know what this is right here? This is that regressive mind. right here spinning. How is this hurting poor people? How is this hurting? Get rid of welfare means hurt poor people. How is this hurting poor people? It's not. It's making it better for them. It's making it better for everyone.
Of $1,000 a
Like,
month.
holy shit. Like, how does he not
Sure,
get that?
but why not do that in tandem with what we're already
Because
doing?
the math isn't
Because it's
there
like,
for that.
What exactly
Thank
are we
you,
trying
Rick.
to achieve here? Are we
You're the
trying to
man.
help people, or are we trying to save money? Because you said something that was kind of weird to me. He was like, it would say.
This was funny. This was a funny part to me too, where he was like, "So, are you trying to help people, or are you trying to save money? How are you helping people without that money? You're saving that money to help people. That money goes to people. Like, imagine we get." Really, what he wanted to do was, like, if we can get that 60 to 80% off welfare that don't need it anymore, all the money we save from the welfare program, because now we don't need as many buildings, we don't need as many employees, we don't need to pay as many utilities, supplies, all that shit. All that money gets circled right back into the UBI to strengthen that UBI. You know what I'm saying? And make it strong, so we always have that $1,000 safety net, as opposed to having to go through all this red tape. Like, it's so weird.
Save
He
us
doesn't
money.
understand that.
Like
Saving money helps people.
Yeah, saving money
Anywhere
helps
you can
people.
save money is gonna help people.
Yeah.
Because that money can be redirected to helping.
in the federal government?
You know what I'm saying? And anything, anywhere. Say you cut
No,
out
we're
welfare. all that
specifically
money that
talking
goes
about the federal government.
Well, the federal government does help people. Welfare is set up by the federal government. The federal government collects money from all types of sources to pay for the welfare. So how doesn't he understand that if we pull out, that if we save a bunch of money on welfare, that we couldn't use that to help other people in
But we know
another
what it would
welfare
go
program,
into, though. It wouldn't
like
go into other
UBI.
social welfare programs. It wouldn't go
I mean,
into
you can say
infrastructure
that, but, I mean,
programs.
if we're gonna keep doing that, then we'll never get anywhere. But I mean, if you're gonna do that, and you can say, "Hey, let's redirect."
Oh yeah,
this
I
over
bust
here.
them on this one.
But if you never
recently.
do that and just say, "Well, we're never gonna execute,"
Because I hate
this
that.
plan,"
I hate that argument. That's that slippery slope argument that I told you that I always hate. That, like, I understand there's a slippery slope. The argument makes sense, but the thing is, we can't let ourselves be stopped by what can happen. You know what I'm saying? What we could do is try to push it forward and then try to direct it in a way that it works best, as opposed to being afraid of it going in the wrong direction. Because if we're always afraid, well, we can't enact this policy because it could slide into this horrible thing, then it's like, then we're never going to get anywhere. Everything's like that. Any policy you pass can go wrong. Like, you know, so you're never going to get anywhere. The argument would then be, well, let's do something to direct it so it doesn't end up in the wrong place, you know?
it just might go somewhere else, and we know how the
I hate that
government
argument.
works.
It's
It's
the
gonna go
worst
somewhere else, then
argument.
we'll never get anything done. You know what I'm saying? Like, those
Which is funny because
arguments
that's
are never gonna
that's
help it.
usually a conservative argument. What he just gave me was a slippery slope
At
argument.
some point, we have to say, "Hey, we're gonna redirect this, and we should redirect it here
Sure.
and
Okay.
use it to
Okay.
help
Okay.
people."
I would be on
You know what I'm
board.
saying?
I would be on board with something like
It
that
looks
if you
so-
could
gosh,
write
just-
something into the legislation that would guarantee that any funds that weren't being used to that would go to something else that is going to be infrastructure, education.
Right, go back into the UBI,
something like that.
make strengthen the
Because,
UBI.
because,
Adds
because,
on to
because
the
we can
UBI,
just
and
say
the
that,
UBI
but
could just be
historically we know better.
Historically,
But
we
what
know
if you
better.
say
So
the
what?
money saved from welfare goes right back into the UBI, and everybody gets a little more? You know, we just keep adding.
But then
on
what's
to
the
people getting more? and
even
more
still, even if we save that money and that went somewhere else, the UBI plan is still better for those poor people than welfare, regardless. Even if they took that money and put it in military or bought all the politicians an extra car with that, it doesn't matter because the UBI is still better for poor people than the welfare system is, regardless. That argument
cut out.
I shouldn't have even let him get into that part of the argument. I should have
So
been
then
like,
the
nah,
money is still being
that's stupid.
spent on the same
Yeah, it
things
goes back
either
to the
way.
person.
So
But
then
it's
why
still
not just
being
let them
spent
keep
on the
their
same
fucking
things. No,
food
they're not.
stamps?
What?
I mean, you could, but there's a lot of red tape in that. There's
That's
a,
what I'm saying, though.
but there's a lot of wasted money that goes into
It's
welfare.
not being spent on the same
it's a
things.
red
Though.
tape
Didn't he just
business.
explain that? Kind
Welfare
of?
could be served better if it could be automated and just given to the people. We cut out the social workers in there. We cut out the buildings you gotta go to and sit
We
in there
can
and talk to people.
restructure the
You know what I'm
system
saying?
without. Hey, what's up, Iris?
Yeah, that's what UBI is. It's a
Yeah, his argument. We can restructure. I'm like, yeah, we can. It's called UBI.
restructuring of that system.
Oh my god.
That's basically what UBI is doing. It's like we're taking welfare, we're going to restructure it to be for
Look at his
everyone,
brain,
it's a
man. His
safety net
brain
for
is
everyone to
fucking
not
melting
fall
on
under
this. Like, he
We're
really
gonna
wants
cut
it
out
to be.
buildings, the
This
buildings
is the
from where we
regressive
cut out the
argument
people
against
that
Yang
work
that
there,
failed hard.
But
We're not
see-
going to completely cut it out because it's an option, but people will choose the $1,000. That's
They
like,
failed so hard that Cenk had to interview Yang and do a little announcement to be like, see guys, we give Yang his time to answer and his answers were great. I totally agree with him. And blah, blah, blah. Because Anna came out and gave the same argument this guy was giving. and saying that, oh, it's regressive because of this and that. It's a terrible plan. And then the Yang Gang jumped on them and said, you guys got it all wrong. You guys are so regressive that you're seeing this as a negative when, in fact, it helps the poor. And you're actually damning the poor because you think it's a better thing to do for some reason. And then Cenk had to completely turn it around and have, Yang on and talk to him and completely switch it because, they were made a fool of because of that.
It's like 60 to 80% of people get less than $1,000 from welfare. That's how many people are going to be leaving welfare. So that money that would have gone to them, the money that would have gone to the extra employees to serve those people, the extra buildings we needed, all that stuff will be funneled back into it, right? And that gets funneled back into the welfare to strengthen it.
Sure. But
Sure.
the
That's
point still
completely
stands.
ignoring
If
my
you're just
argument.
going to redirect the money
Yeah.
back
He ignored
to
my
people,
argument. There you go.
why
Ignored
not just
Just swept it away.
restructure the way the welfare service is set up?
it. That's
You-
yeah.
you don't have to.
Anti-welfare. I just think that the welfare
It
system
kind of
we have is
sounds like
shit.
it, though. Oh yes,
No,
of course.
UBI
I
is a
think we
welfare.
both can agree on that.
I
Of course.
prefer a better welfare system, and usually my argument, I usually argue this against right-wing people, right? So usually my argument is, hey, you don't like welfare, right? So this is a way to restructure out of welfare. You know what I'm saying? And we don't need it anymore. But
Yeah,
I'm not
but
against
they don't
welfare. If we
like
can also
welfare.
have
They don't like welfare for different reasons.
Yeah, see,
though.
this is where he starts
They don't like the
strawmanning.
Yeah, you
idea
mentioned
of
that.
helping
Can't argue
poor
that. Well,
people.
I'm not going to do that because I don't lump people together with the same ideologies. I'm sure each of them have their own reasons for not liking it, and I'll argue each and one of those if they come to me. But in the end,
What other issue would you have with it if it's not just its structure? I mean, Republicans,
people just don't
conservatives
think
in
it's fair.
general are
That's
all
why-
for slashing social welfare programs. Always have been. Anything that they think will help black people, they're all for
See,
putting
there
that
you
shit on
go.
the chopping block.
Anything
See,
that he
that's
think
crazy.
will help black people.
See-
So basically, he just strawmanned everybody, every conservative out there. He strawmanned every Republican, which is why I came in and said, I won't strawman them with that. They all have
this
their
is
own
where
arguments.
this is where
and I'll
we
argue
come
every
to
one
huge
of them.
disagreements,
I'm not
because this is
gonna
where
lump
I
them up.
say
Sure.
you're saying black people. They're not saying black people. That makes it sound like you're the one who's racist.
Yeah.
You think social programs are for black people? Like, is that what it is?
Is that what you
think?
heard just now when I said that?
I'm asking
That's
him.
what you said,
I'm saying
bro.
it kinda
Because
sounds like
that's
what you
you
said.
Kind of at all what I said. Okay, if
maybe I'm
you
getting
have
it
a
wrong.
problem like understanding things, I'm sorry,
That's
but
why
that's not what I said.
That's why I was asking.
When I say that,
That's why I was being charitable and gave him the benefit of the doubt and was asking him, is this what you're saying?
No.
You know, like,
helps black people. You hear it only helps black people, or it's
But see,
for black people.
And then that's you just assuming.
That's
that
literally
they
what you
see
just
it
said.
yeah, then you're strawmanning
You're
them.
assuming they're seeing it that way. They don't all see it that way. Maybe they just don't
Yeah,
like.
he's
poor
the one who
people.
said
You're
it.
the
He's
one
like, that's
who's
what you
black.
just said. No, that's what you just said. You said they're
No.
seeing it as just being all only, I don't want to help black people. Let's cut this. That's how you're seeing them. It's a straw man.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but when I said poor people, you said that it's not that either. Just a
What,
few
when did I
seconds
say
ago,
that?
when I said
Did
they
I?
don't want to help poor people, you was like, "Well, no." When I say, "Well, they don't want to help black people," well, no, it's not that.
Yeah, it's a matter of
No,
perspective.
I'm saying that's
what
not
the argument
always
is,
what
though,
their
'cause you
argument's
can't
going to be.
argue
That's what I'm
I'm
saying. No
like,
to.
I
I
feel
don't
like
think
for you
that's
to call
always
yourself
what their
a
argument's
lefty,
going to
you're
be.
running a lot of
Some
cover
just
for
don't think-
conservatives.
That's not running cover. See, this is how weak this dude is.
Why? How did he flop like that?
That
Like,
I
what?
can't show people. I can't tell. See, I'm running cover conservative. This isn't what it is. What I'm doing is teaching this guy how to argue. He's so bad at debate and argumentation that he doesn't understand that when you go into a debate, regardless of what party the person's in, whatever their ideology is, you have to hear out their argument. If not, you're strawmanning them. If he gets into say Sean debates him on welfare, and they debate on welfare, and he says, "Well, you just don't want to help black people." And Sean's like, "What? That's not why I'm against that. Let me tell you why I'm against it." And he tells you his argument. And then this guy, in the end, is still going to argue as if Sean doesn't want to help black people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because all he does is straw man. And now he's saying I'm giving cover for people on the right? No, what I'm doing is teaching you that you are shit at argumentation. That your critical thinking is garbage. That you straw man people and you'll never be good at debating because you lump people together. So exactly, remember earlier in the stream I was explaining how there's template warriors? And how, like, when they get thrown off their template, they don't know what to do. That's exactly what this
Yeah.
guy's doing. Now, he would go into an argument with a conservative with thinking, this person doesn't want to help black people. No matter what the conservative says and argues with him, he's never going to have that out of his mind. So the second that conservative gives him an argument that doesn't go with that, he's lost. This is why throughout this time when we were discussing UBI, he would get lost because I wasn't giving him the answers he thought was going to come. You know what I'm saying? He thought he could debate UBI. He couldn't. He failed horrifically, did not understand what UBI was, and in turn was arguing to give poor people less money. He thought, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like this guy who thinks he's a progressive, who thinks he's an SJW9000, he thinks he's fighting for social justice, straight up argued with me that poor people deserve to keep $600 of food stamps, of housing tickets, of red tape, of bureaucracy, that they deserve to have that instead of having straight $1,000 cash every month. How ridiculous is that? Everybody sees how ridiculous that is. But that's what he argued with me and didn't even realize it. I think he still doesn't even realize it. At the end of this stream, he's not going to put it in this. But that night at the end of that stream, he said something like, yo, that Alf Benny guy, I can't believe he was telling me something about cycling the money back to that. Why not just put it into welfare? That doesn't make sense because welfare is draining that money. I just explained to you that welfare isn't just giving people cash. It's buildings, it's employers, it's all these things. You know what I'm saying? Instead, just put in the UBI that gives it directly to people as opposed to making people go to this building and have to go through all this red tape that's sucking that money dry. Like, how do you not get that? Basically, he wants poor people to suffer if you're not going to give them $1,600. He'd rather them have 600 than 1,000 because we're not giving them 1,600. It's a weird mathematical anomaly that he's going through right there.
Well, I have a cover for truth and ideology.
Yeah, I have a cover for truth and ideology.
People. That's not something I do. If you want to strawman people, that's cool, but I don't strawman people. If I argue with conservatives, I'll argue each one of their individual arguments separately. I'm not going to lump them all in and just argue one thing and say that covers all of their arguments. You know, because then I'm strawmanning their argument. I don't know if that's.
I lose. Yeah, if I do that, I lose.
Well, if they present me with a different one, then okay.
I just did. I just told you.
That's what I'm saying. You're just assuming their argument. Some of them don't.
That's what I'm saying.
Some of them just think it's unfair. I've had arguments with conservative people who just think that welfare is unfair, and they're like, "How come I don't get money?" and stuff like that. It's a shitty argument, but I mean, they have their different reasons. You know?
Well, what would be a different reason?
I just gave him a different reason.
What would be unfair?
It's unfair how?
It's unfair that people get money for messing up when they don't get money for not messing up.
Is that not saying that you don't want to help poor people?
That's not saying that at all.
That's saying
He's probably
everybody
not
should be responsible for themselves. That's what they're
repeated.
Okay.
That's not against
so
this is where he would fail.
Because if you're poor, that is a moral failing on your part.
There you go. He just strawmanned his opponent again. This is funny because to me this is like debate simulator, and I'm not a conservative, but I've debated conservatives so many times. I know a lot of different arguments from them. So this guy is I'm his debate simulator. And he's got me at what's funny is he's got me at level 1 out of 10. Like there's 10 levels to me being a debate simulator. And he's got me at level 1 and he's failing terribly. He's failing terribly. I just explained to him not to strawman your opponent because you will lose. And what does he do? His first argument back to something that he asked me for a different argument. I give it to him, and his first argument back is strawmanning his opponent. Talk about not learning.
You're saying.
That's what you're saying. Yeah,
and not them.
And not them. Yeah, they're not saying that either.
That's literally the argument.
That's not literally
That's
the
not the
argument.
argument they're making to me. They just think everyone should be responsible for themselves. They're not saying you deserve to be at a loss, but they don't deserve.
No, I'm not saying
That's
that.
what he
I'm
just
not
said.
saying- oh my god!
He just said that.
It's like I say something and then it goes through like a filter,
back a
and
little
then
bit.
you hear something else, and then you respond on your part, and you don't deserve help.
He just said it on your part. You don't deserve help because you didn't do your part. That's what he just said.
Because if you're
Straw
poor,
man.
that is a moral failing
moral
on your
failing.
part, and you don't deserve help.
And you don't deserve
what
help
you're
because
saying,
you
not
just
me.
had a moral failure.
And not them. I've never heard them make that argument.
That's
to me. That's an
literally
argument
the
you're making.
argument, man.
That's not the argument they're making to me. They just think everyone should be responsible for themselves. They're not saying you deserve to be at a loss, but they don't deserve.
No,
but they
I'm not
have
saying
to
that.
help
I'm
you
not
so they-
saying-
I'm not
oh
saying
my
that,
God.
but he just said that.
It's like I say something.
I think it's the opposite. I think he is a filter for himself and he doesn't realize that I'm saying
and
that.
then it goes through like a filter, and then you hear something else, and then you respond to the thing that you thought I said.
That's what it sounds like. All right. Maybe we have a communication issue.
Yeah, I'm like,
That's
I don't
good.
know if it's Discord or like the mic. Like I don't know what
No,
it is.
it's you.
So
Oh my god.
Yeah,
no,
totally you. Especially
conservatives
listening
say
back to this, it's you.
that it is
I
not
repeated
fair
back exactly what you
that
said.
they get a welfare check because they
I wonder
made
if he's
bad
got the
personal
camera like
decisions.
flipped or something.
That
like a little
is,
thingy.
by
looking
definition,
outside.
saying that they don't want to help poor people. I'm not saying that they say that you deserve to be poor.
Oh,
But you did say that.
What?
You said you
Definition,
deserve it because it's a
yeah.
moral
Like,
failing. That's exactly what you said. And now you changed it because I told you you're straw manning them by saying it. So then you completely changed it. Look at that face.
You have made
Yeah.
mistakes and you have fallen to the bottom. Then you deserve to be
No,
down
but
there.
you
and
just
don't deserve.
and he just repeated it now. He's telling me he's not saying when he says the argument is that you deserve to be there, I'm saying you're straw manning them. That's not what they're saying. And then he says, that's not what I'm saying. You're not listening. There's a filter that you're not hearing what I'm saying because I'm not saying they deserve to be there. What I'm saying is when they collecting welfare checks, they deserve to be there. And it's like, huh? Like what? This guy-
Their help, not to say, "Hey, you are naturally born."
Nobody-
into a
I didn't
situation
say you
and
were
if-
saying that.
If you're already poor, you should
No.
never get money.
What I was
But if-
saying is their idea is a matter of perspective. Their argument is I'm responsible for myself, and that's it. And every person is responsible for themselves, and that's it. Like, that's the argument. But he's not arguing that. Instantly, he strawmans it. You see that? Instantly strawmans it to be like, I'm responsible for myself means everybody deserves what they get. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo,
Yeah.
that's a matter of perspective. They're not giving you that argument. You're strawmanning that argument. And you're going to continue to. He continues to.
you made
while
a fuck
saying
up
he's not.
and you slipped off the ladder, it's not our responsibility to help
Yes,
you back
but
up.
it doesn't mean he deserves it.
You
Exactly.
just made two different arguments.
Yeah, here's
You
where he
made an
gets
argument
destroyed.
from two different
Good.
perspectives. You made the argument of I don't believe I should help poor people,
Mhm.
and then you made the argument that poor people deserve to be where they are. Like that's two
No, no.
different arguments you just made, dude.
Yeah, look at his head. Look at his head. Look at him. Look at him. Okay, okay. Scratch that. Scratch that. Exactly. Exactly.
Scratch the deserve part.
So the whole part wasn't me misunderstanding. It was him backtracking
It was
the
him
deserve part. Yeah,
misunderstanding.
and he was
Yeah.
backtracking that the whole time, and he just finally realized he can't backtrack it without actually saying, "Okay, take that away, take that part away." Like he was trying to backtrack it, but there was no way for him to complete that argument because it was just sitting there. That's
You
so
make a
funny.
moral failing and you end up poor. It is not my responsibility to help
But
you.
why is even moral failing there? You don't have to make
Some
a
people
moral
believe that
failing
way.
to
I
be
would argue
poor.
that,
Like
and
you
I would
could just,
argue against that. But I'm saying
it
that
doesn't
is an
have to be a
argument. I'm
moral
saying that's
thing.
a different
It's so
argument
weird.
than what you
That's
were
straw
saying.
manning
And
regardless. He
lumping
just
conservatives
continues to
have.
do it.
That's why I was saying they have different arguments. You can't just give one overall.
Right,
argument to
okay,
the
but
people
that
argument.
was my argument. So what's the variation of that? What
do
would
you
be
mean
your other
variation of it?
reasoning? What would be your other reasoning if not I don't deserve or I'm
You
sorry.
had another reason.
There's also another conservative argument I didn't bring up, but there's also another conservative argument where they hate big government and they think it's up to human beings to make the choice themselves to help poor people, not for the government to do
Yeah,
it. You know,
yeah.
that charity and church and all that will help poor people and that the government should stay out of it. That's another argument. You can't argue it the same way. You know what I'm saying? If you do, you're going to strawman them.
All right, I'm sorry.
You-
Let me
this guy
say this.
sucks.
That you
Poor
shouldn't
people.
get my help if you fail. There we go. So what would be the other argument besides
You shouldn't
that?
get your help. I go for nationalistic, like patriotic kind of thing in that, where I think that we should always it should be our duty as a person of a nation, a citizen, to help out other citizens.
No.
and help
I'm
out.
not
why are you
asking
saying
you what your argument is.
Me, like what their argument is.
Yes, because you keep
That's
saying
the
that they don't
argument
all
is
think
that-
the same way.
No, but that's their argument is that they don't think they're responsible for other people. That's not, that's what I'm saying. That's the opposite of my argument, where I would say we are responsible for other people. They say they're not.
sounds all over.
Like somebody said it in the chat,
their
helping
argument
poor
against
people should not be forced
how
by
we
the
would have
government. It's
conflicting
personal
arguments
responsibility.
between
That's a
person
different argument that
saying
somebody's
and
making
not have
in the
to
chat.
argue against them saying, no, you do have at least some responsibility to help out your fellow countrymen in some way, where they would say, I don't have any responsibility. You know who do that a lot is like those sovereign citizen kind of guys, where they're like, oh, I don't need to respect American laws. You know what I'm saying? I'm a free traveler. They do those arguments a lot because they feel like I'm an individual and I only am responsible for myself, and I'm not a full citizen. I'm not part of the state.
Yeah, that's dumb as fuck.
But so I'm saying they have different arguments. That's what one of their arguments
But
would
that's
be. And it'd
more
be an
of the
argument of more
libertarian
like
argument than a
for
conservative
libertarian,
argument.
But there's libertarians in the conservative movement as well. You're going to argue that.
Well, at this point,
There's-
all
there's a lot of
libertarians are
crossover.
conservatives.
See, there you go,
at this
Strawman.
point.
At this
Like, let's
point,
be
all
real.
libertarians are
I
conservatives.
wouldn't agree with that, but maybe a larger number. I don't know if I would agree with that.
Libertarians are just conservatives that want to smoke weed and fuck hookers, all right? they fall in line with every other, even though they talk about all this liberty and all this shit, they don't mean that shit. They only mean liberty for them.
Well, yeah, there's tons of hypocrites, especially in the conservative movement. You get tons
Yeah,
of
they're called
hypocrisy where
libertarians,
it's
yeah.
like, you can't ban Trump off Twitter, but
Hypocrite is just a
I don't want-
euphemism for libertarian, or the other
Yeah.
way around.
You can't ban Trump off Twitter, but I don't want to make a gay cake for this people.
Yes,
Gay
exactly,
wedding
yeah.
cake for these people. And it's like, well, how's that double standard work for you? No, I get you, but the
He
shit comes
didn't
in-
get it.
in
The whole
extremes. Like
point
I
of
said,
that argument was telling him that you can't go at conservatives. If you want to debate and you want to be part of this whole debate crew thing and counteract videos, this is why his videos on Sean failed so much. Because you remember we were watching them, right? And this is how they consistently failed was, if you guys want to check out his channel in the videos he made about Sean, you can see it yourself. But he continuously does this. Sean will start the argument, he'll pause it, and then continue the argument for Sean in the wrong direction. And he'll straw man Sean and be like, oh, you know, they do this thing where they blah, 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 and this is what they're going to do, and this is what he thinks, and blah, blah. And then he presses play, and Sean says the same shit he does. And it's like you just made Sean's point for him. Yeah, you straw manned him in an argument, and then he told you, yeah, that's not what his argument was. Like, remember the one with the pictures, and he was like, oh yeah, conservative white people look at this, which I find completely racist. He doesn't even realize he's racist, but I find it racist because his argument to Sean was, I didn't say you were saying that, I say white people see that and they think, well, then you're racist if you think white people see that. You're white. This guy, he calls himself black. This guy obviously isn't fully black. He's part white too. What does your white side say when you look at those things? The things you're saying? If it doesn't, then you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? And you just strawmanned yourself. Like, what an idiot. But yeah, that's what he does. He goes through Sean's videos, pauses before Sean can finish his argument, completely strawmans him, and then when he presses play, he has to change his argument completely because Sean said something else, you know?
Yeah, me and you are both on the left. We both probably agree more with Democrats than Republicans, but I bet you're farther left than I am.
Why do you say that exactly? I'm curious.
Well, first off, your name is SJW9000.
Yeah. Busted!
Like, how left do you have to be to make your whole identity
Hey,
about
why am
social
I
justice?
farther left?
Like, that's pretty fucking
Why
left.
for?
Well, I mean, for the most part, when conservatives refer to SJWs, aren't they just talking about liberals? Like
No.
when they talk about
No.
lefties, they're not
think
talking about
progressives.
SJWs.
I think progressives. I think you're wrong.
I think
yeah.
progressives.
I think when people say
I think
SJWs, they're talking about
more of
progressives.
the progressive wing of Democrats. I don't think they're talking about more like the liberal Democrats. When you say SJW, when I say SJW, I'm talking about like your AOC.
I've never heard anybody call Obama an SJW. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I've never heard anybody call Biden even an SJW. I've never heard anybody call Biden SJW, and he has talked about race and stuff. And I've never heard anybody call that. You know who I had heard him call people call them SJWs is AOC, Bernie, Cenk Uygur, you know, Ilhan Omar, you know, progressives. Even Pelosi. I've never even heard anybody call Pelosi an SJW. You know what I'm saying?
No.
There's, you know, people like that.
NBC
Vosh,
was shocked
maybe.
by this.
Vosh is a little crazy, but, you know, and then if we're talking about liberal Democrats, I'm talking about like Joe Biden's a regular
Words
dude.
truly have no meaning anymore, do they?
Words don't. No, they totally have
If
meaning,
you
and
say
they've
so,
always
those
had the
people are
same
far
exact
left to
meaning.
me.
Okay.
Socially,
Wait,
maybe not
wait.
economically.
AOC is far left to
Yeah,
you?
how is AOC not
Oh, yeah,
far
for
left?
sure.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Well,
For
okay,
sure.
okay. What would you say about Bernie then?
Bernie's far left to me, for sure.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, for sure.
What about Kamala
Why
and
not?
Biden?
Kamala and Biden are more towards me, I would think. They're closer to being liberals than progressives. Kamala has some of that progressiveness in her too, but Biden's an old school Democrat like me. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? I felt the same about Yang. I felt Yang was more, he's my age. We're about around the same age. I felt like he's
So
got
would
that
you
old
consider
school
yourself a
liberal
blue dog Democrat then?
I've never even heard that, a blue dog.
I'm a liberal Democrat from back in the day. I voted Democrat every single election I can, starting with Bill Clinton. Right? Like,
Sure, right. But that's not answering my question, though.
what do you mean by blue dog Democrat?
Blue
Like I'll
dog
never vote
Democrat.
outside.
I've still never heard
No,
that until
like you
yesterday.
get what
Yeah.
that term means, right? Blue dog Democrats are usually more conservative-leaning Democrats.
That's a weird way to say conservative leaning. So you mean
Well,
more
by saying
towards the
conservative,
center?
that means I'm more towards the center. It's kind of weird. I'm not a conservative. I mean, so I mean,
Well,
if I'm
more
conservative leaning or
conservative
not, it makes no
still
difference,
in
right?
the wing of the. Okay, you were just
There's
trying
no
to make
such
the argument
thing.
for gradations and
Yeah,
conservatism.
I hear what he's saying, but there's no such thing as a conservative wing of the Democrats. That doesn't exist. Like,
So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
can we
conservative
not?
leaning,
which
if
is
you
what
want
I
to
was
do that
saying
without me being conservative. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm saying, yeah,
I'm not
lean that
I'm
calling
more
way
you
towards the
without
center.
being
Okay, I got you. I got what you're saying. I got you.
Fly away. You say some stupid shit like that again, you're getting fucking banned. Straight the fuck up. Like, don't be a dumb bitch, all right?
Yeah, don't be afraid to ban people. I mean, there's always going to be some douchebags in the chat. That always happens.
Yeah, but he
No matter
doesn't ban them because he has nobody, so he wants to keep them.
Yeah,
To
so
me,
how have
when
you
I
guys
was
never
small
heard
like
of-
him,
oh
I
my
would
God.
ban
Yeah.
people like crazy.
You guys watch political streamers and shit? You've never heard the term blue dog Democrat before?
I only
He
watch like
likes
maybe 2 or 3
probably
political
that
streamers. I
type of
usually get my
attention
politics
in there.
reading and stuff. Like, I don't really.
Yeah, he's like, you guys
I
watch
really watch
political
No,
stream?
I was more so.
I watch Sean, I watch
comedy
Devin.
terrorists.
That's
Yeah.
about it, really.
KRS is with me.
My
I know,
politics I
know,
get from
know.
like
I'm starting
actual
to
sources. I
recognize
don't
some of
listen
you
to
my
guys.
friend.
random
She my
YouTubers
friend.
from my politics, like this guy does, I guess, or thinks people do.
Wait, fly away. You think AOC is Muslim?
This is where I'm like,
Is
you're
that
falling for
serious?
trolls.
Muslim? No, that cannot be serious.
I'm
No
like,
way.
I feel like he's
I
retarded, but I'm
trolling.
not
I feel
sure.
like he's retarded. No, he's trolling.
Because I know you wanted to come argue with me from
maybe-
like a few months ago, but I don't know what happened.
This guy's
Oh,
falling
this is
for
somebody
trolls.
from before.
So we use it.
Yeah.
That's probably some crazy troll dude that's following you. You're probably better off just getting rid of him.
Oh no.
Quality control.
No,
But
and that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't normally drop the ban hammer on people because for the
Yeah,
most
even
part,
if
I'm
I
not
was, like,
fucking
giving
scared.
him,
Like I
like,
grew up in fucking flame.
not
Like,
dropping-
any shit that y'all motherfuckers can say to me that's gonna hurt my motherfucking
You hear what
feelings.
he's saying? I have thick skin, but yet you act like a crybaby the whole time. And then banning people doesn't mean you're hurt or you're crying. It's just quality control. You can ban
No.
people if you want without
Yeah.
being upset. Like, what kind of argument is that? That's a terrible argument. Man, I grew up in Flint. I got hard skin. But yet he's crying to Lance. Shut up, my dogs. You okay, Manny?
Oh,
I think she needs some water. Let me get her some water. Hold on, I'll be back.
okay.
Oh my god, I am paused. Alright, I'm here. I'm not leaving you for too long. Alright. I got her food real quick. But yeah, this is like basic human interaction this dude is failing on, like. And then talking about how he's got a thick skin but crying the whole time, and it's like I don't get it.
Had to dodge
We like
bullets
that. We
before.
like that. Laugh with us, man.
Fuck that shit.
I had to dodge bullets. You ain't dodged shit, bro. I don't believe that shit for nothing, yo. I've had friends of mine die from being shot. You ain't fucking been through shit. I don't believe that shit.
But
Ain't
that
nobody who's dodged bullets gonna be crying to YouTubers. I was harassed. They Sean actually get the fuck out of for being safe. For people coming in saying you sound like Joe Rogan. Get the
That being
fuck
said,
out of here. What a weak bitch.
we're not gonna pretend
Don't buy that
Dodge
shit.
that
bullets.
I was being welcomed with open arms
in
by
Grand
these
Theft
people.
Auto?
Okay.
No, I got a little crazy.
Which
But welcome with open arms is a totally different thing.
Which is
though.
totally expected. I swung at the God King. I totally
Swung
expect him
at
to be
the
angry.
God
Why
King.
wouldn't they be?
What? See, this
But
is
if anybody
the.
came at you with like really
This is a
fucked up,
straw
like,
man
angry
that
stuff
he
or
does.
like
I
slurs too.
cried,
There was somebody.
Sean. I cried.
There was
That's
somebody.
interesting.
You did
Yeah,
cry.
see, he's being
God.
sarcastic.
You acted like you
Sean
cried.
is also New Yorker, very sarcastic. So don't take Sean seriously on everything he says.
Dude, you cried over us
us
saying you
Northeasterners
sound
are
like
like,
Joe
you know,
Rogan.
man, you know.
Yeah, you cried over
I was gonna say I'm
straight up. You cried over us saying you sound like you should be faux Rogan. You did cry about it. And then he was like, I cried. That's exactly what you did, bro. How did you not do that?
I'm Midwest, but yeah, sure.
Northeast enough.
East
Yeah, I don't understand how we're not considered East Coast, but I know.
Well, we're East Coasters, Northeasters, man. We're fucking super sarcastic, so don't take us too serious. And, like, don't take it like we're trying to attack you. Sometimes we're just being sarcastic and joking with you.
Yeah, but
Also, you guys want to be friends? Is that what it is?
It's not friends, but it's not. We don't
There's
have
no
to be
reason
enemies.
why
It's not either your friends or your enemies. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
So
you can have a debate. If you
Yeah,
want with Sean
it's
about it.
extremes.
Like
It's
I
so
said,
radical. It
paranoid.
is that regressive mentality where it's like all or nothing. So you guys want to be friends? Oh, so you want to be enemies? Oh, so you want to be friends? It's like, why can't there just be a middle point where we're not antagonistic and we're not friends, but we're not
That'd be
antagonistic?
Bloodsport.
But this is my thing though. This is my thing though.
Unless you want that. That's a different thing.
Well, I mean, you know.
If you want that, you want that. Then.
My question is, I'm shocked
That's what I
at
told him,
how
if you want
much
that.
interest
This
I
is-
gained from you guys off
Yeah.
of
Take this
those
out.
videos. I mean, I'm nobody. No one knows who the fuck I am. And
Somebody showed it to us. And,
yeah, no, I know. I'm in the
talked to
Discord.
Sean and I told
know.
him, hey, this guy made videos on you. You want to come to this Discord and watch it with us? And it was me and Chris. And it was just the three of us watching it. We were laughing, goofing off, watching your videos. We didn't take it serious. Nobody got mad, we're just goofing off. And then, it was like, Sean, we should contact this dude. Let's talk to him, And that's it, It wasn't anything like we were pre-planning some crazy ops or anything like, let's attack this dude, It was just like being goofy, like, yeah, this guy seems like a nice guy. Let's just go mess
Yeah,
with
no,
him.
sure. Like that one person who was in the Discord
that
that was
one
talking
person.
about.
You see, I'm talking. This is where he takes it. This is why he's a crybaby, and he takes it to the wrong level because he just heard me explain that it was three of us. It's me, you, and Sean. We watched the videos. We laughed. We had a good time. Nobody was mad. We were like, "This guy seems nice. Let's contact him." And let's talk to him, be friendly. And he says, like that one guy who said that one guy was not part of that group. That had nothing to. I just explained that to you. That it had nothing to do with that. What I'm talking about is me, you. Yeah, and that's what it is. Is because he wants to be a victim. After explaining to him that it wasn't that way, he wants to find that one random person that was calling him something. Oh, like that guy who said that's that guy. That's what you all think. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to be this way. That's what he wants. I don't know why he didn't just tell me. Like when I brought up if you wanted to be antagonistic, he should have just been honest with me and said yes. That's it. That's all it takes, man. I was being honest with you. All you had to say was yes. I want this to be antagonistic, and that's it. And I would have said peace out and fucking clicked off without saying anything else. I would have been like, okay, peace, click, and that's it.
Done.
Yeah, and that's it. It would have been as simple as that. But instead, he strung me along, kept talking to me as if he understood what I was saying,
or to just let me yell into the void.
which obviously shows. After explaining to him the intentions, he goes to that. That obviously shows it did hurt his feelings. Remember how he was saying it didn't hurt his feelings? Obviously, it did hurt his feelings because after explaining that, he would have been like, "Oh, then that guy was just some random dude. Fuck that guy. These guys aren't trying to do that." But he brings that up because that hurt his feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That made him feel inferior, and now he wants to take that out and be like, "I can't be cool with these guys. They made me feel inferior." But really, it was himself who made himself feel inferior. Like, if you can't deal with random spurgs and trolls on the internet, what are you doing on the internet? Like, you're not going to last anywhere. Ignore those people and
YouTube and Discord.
Yeah, there's a vetting process on the internet. Ignore the fucking the crazy people and find the cool people in there that you can talk to. You don't have to be friends with them, but you can make shared content and talk to them and figure things out. Figure things out for the internet and how to grow your channel. But instead, he wants to play a bitch, obviously. And you know what it is because he likes Surf's TV. What it seems like to me is he's trying to get Surf's TV to shout him out and be like, "Oh, Sean attacked this guy's channel. Go give this guy support and grow his channel." And he thinks Surf's going to go out on a limb to support this guy's content that's garbage. You know what I'm saying? He strawmans people. All he does is strawman people and then cry when anybody gives him criticism back, Like,
yeah.
So then that way people wouldn't hear me, right?
There's gonna be some people.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it was more than just some. No, but it's okay, buddy. I don't understand all the obfuscation. Like, why do this? Like, I don't get it.
What's the obfuscation?
Hold on.
He doesn't get it. That's the funny part, is he's saying, what's with all the obfuscation? I get it. And it's like, but you're saying the exact opposite of what I just explained to you. So you're not getting
Yeah.
it. The reason you
No.
think there's obfuscation going on is because you don't get it. So don't tell me you get it if you don't get it. Like,
Some people in there were using racial slurs, and I was pointing it out to you in the chat. I was like, yo, you need a mod. There's people using slurs that ain't
that
cool.
doesn't matter though, right? Like,
You know, so it's
Sure.
not like we were trying to encourage people to be super mean to you. You know what I'm saying? We're just goofing off. Even Sean made posts on his Discord, saying like, hey, come tell this guy he sounds like Joe Rogan.
No.
Like, he didn't say go in there and call him like, racial slurs or, or tell him he's going to crush him. You know what I'm saying?
No, but you make sure to make a point to say,
And you do
oh,
sound
he
like Joe
hates
Rogan.
me.
but you
Not
do.
exactly, but you do.
Yeah, no, I don't hear it at all. But no, make
It does make him mad. You saw his face. Nah, I don't hear it at all. After I said you
Yeah.
do sound like Joe
Oh,
Rogan.
God.
Yeah, I don't hear it at all. Obviously, you don't hear it. Nobody hears the voice the way their voice sounds. Nobody hears that. And
Yeah.
everyone knows that their voice doesn't sound the way they think it sounds.
Tell your audience like, oh,
Everyone
he
knows
hates
that.
me. Go over to his channel. He sounds just like Joe Rogan. Because that's
Yeah,
how
it's
it
just
does,
Sean
like,
is
everybody in the
sarcastic.
chat
His audience
said
knows that.
that
It's
he
jokes.
sounded
I'm
like-
sorry.
He's
you
like, oh, wow,
honestly
this
should
guy-
work for
Some people
fucking,
ask
as
questions and
Trump's
then also said, oh, by the way, you sound like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking. He's a bitch.
press secretary. Like, holy shit.
Shit. I would have made him a better president probably because I'm on the left. So.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say
would've-
you run good cover. I'll give you that.
Not running good cover. He's my friend. I know him personally, so I know him well. So
Yeah.
I know his intentions on things. Like I've known him for a long time.
Yeah, that's where I tell him what you're doing is being a Dunning-Kruger right now.
You don't know him, so you're just basically Dunning-Krugering this whole thing and making up intentions for him.
Oh, okay.
And then someone's coming
And then
here
he
who-
says, "Oh, okay," like brushing that off. But that's
Yeah, cool.
exactly what's
Yeah.
happening, right? Like you're talking to somebody who's a friend of someone else, someone that you don't know, and you're trying to tell that person who's friends of that person
You know more.
yeah, that you know
Yeah.
more about that person than they do, and it's like I'm his friend. How are you going to tell me that? Like obviously you're being a Dunning-Kruger. Yeah,
I was
you're
just
suffering
telling
that
you,
effect.
like, hey,
right
this is what he intended to do. Like, he didn't intend for it to be a malicious thing. We just goofing off.
Mm.
If you want to take it as a malicious thing, like, that's what you want, then that's what you want. You can ask for that. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want, that's how you want it. But for what? You know what I'm saying? That's what
Yeah,
I'm
that's what I'm saying.
saying.
But for what?
She
And look at his face,
insists in.
and he's taking it as a threat because he's a weak bitch. Because a weak bitch would take that as a threat because they don't understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying is why would we even go that route? That's what I just said. But for what? What does that mean when someone says that? That means why would we even do that though? You know what I'm saying? But
There's no
instead,
need for
he
that.
thinks me saying we can have it be antagonistic, but why would we do that? Me saying that means to him that I'm threatening him. That shows how
Exactly.
much of a
Opposite.
weak
Like,
bitch 6-year-old girl this guy is.
yeah.
Dude, you
It doesn't
gotta.
have to be this antagonistic
Like, who
thing.
takes-
Like, you
who
guys
sees
can
that as
have a
that?
cool discussion. Everybody can.
I'm still explaining it. This
But
doesn't have to be
space.
an antagonistic thing. We could be cool, and he's still thinking about
You
it.
want me to come on another time, have a discussion with you about other political things, other stuff? That's cool.
Are
Like, there's
you
no
are you
problem.
are you like vaguely threatening me
That's
right
the
now?
part. How funny is that?
No. How is that a threat?
That's why I'm like shocked. I'm like, no. How is that a threat? Like what?
No, what do you mean by if you want it like that? Like, what is
No, I'm
that supposed
saying
to
if
mean?
you want it to be antagonistic, go for it. I'm not gonna stop you. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
how could you?
I don't give a shit.
How is this?
Yeah. Now I have to explain expressions to him. It's how retarded is this guy, man? He's fucking stupid.
Well, you said you're not
Well,
gonna
I'm
stop
not
me.
gonna
How
argue
could you?
against you doing it. I'm not gonna try to talk you out of it. If you want it to be antagonistic, go for it.
Sure.
See that he says sure. I don't know if he means sure he understands what I'm saying, that it's not a threat, or if he's saying sure he wants it to be antagonistic. Me as a charitable person, at the moment, I thought he was saying, sure, I understand what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Oh, sure, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, you didn't mean it as a threat. But I could be wrong. Watching this over, it could have been he was saying sure, as in sure, I want it to be antagonistic, which I wish he would have been more open honest with me about it
More
there.
clear about
Because
it,
that
yeah.
could have ended right there, and I would have been like, all right, later, bitch. Later, crybaby
Yeah.
bitch, and been out, you know? If you keep being a
Like,
crybaby
why is
bitch,
that a
then
skin
you
off
want to
our
be that, go
back?
for it.
Like,
Yeah, why is that a skin
to
off
be
our
like,
back?
hey, we're goofing off with you.
Really, what I'm telling him is that we're not threatened by you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm coming here, you're crybabying on the internet thinking you were harassed and that Sean's intentions were to harass you because you're a crybaby. And I'm coming on to explain to you, hey, you're being a crybaby. It wasn't meant that way. I know Sean. stop being a weak bitch for once in your life and understand
Right.
that the intention of this wasn't that. I know Sean very well. His intention is never to harass someone. He was having fun. We were all having fun, and we're coming in and joking with you. And then he says, and then I say, but if you want it to be antagonistic, we can have that. It's not a threat to us. You know what I'm saying? And he's saying, is that a threat? And look, and some stupid retard in the chat, that Solaris guy who's a fucking retard, he says, he's totally threatening you. How is that a threat? That's why that guy's another weak bitch. So the only subs this guy's gonna get are other weak bitches. It's just weak bitch on top of weak bitch. You know what I'm saying?
All paranoid.
Yeah, straight up. They're all paranoid weak bitches. And if you talk to them straightforward, like man to man, they think that that's a threat or you pumping their chest at them. But it's just you being a human being. But they're just so weak that just people, if you're not sucking their dick, they think you're attacking them. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm not going to go on there and suck your dick. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to come up there and talk to you like an equal man to man. I thought that would happen, but now I know he's not my equal. Now I know he's just a weak bitch.
No,
wanna
we're not
take
gonna
it
get
that
to
way and
buddy.
make it-
Buddy,
that's what I'm
I don't understand why you're getting so like defensive.
I'm getting
Like,
defensive.
we're having
You
a good
just told me
time.
I was
Like, we're
threatening.
talking,
Cool.
we're hanging out. Yeah.
I thought, see, this is where things get weird because I feel like you're the one being antagonist. Also, I'm
Really?
smoking weed, so maybe I'm being pretty stoned too. So don't.
Maybe you're just
Take it
paranoid
too
because you're high.
Yeah, maybe I'm just really stoned. But to me, it sounds like you're the one being antagonist.
Yeah, and you guys all told me I was when we got off, and I was like, was it me? Or
Yeah,
it seems
No,
like to me.
we're cool. We're cool.
I
And then he
really
tells me
didn't.
we're
That's what I'm
cool.
saying,
Why?
don't take it-
Why say we're
people
cool
being
if we're
here to
not?
have fun.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
He tells me at the end we're cool, but why say we're cool when we're not? And then when I get
And then
off,
do this.
yeah.
Like-
And then when I got off, he's saying I'm threatening him. He made this crack about the UBI thing that he didn't understand at all. That he completely fucked over poor people. Said in his argument, said that he would rather have poor people suffer than have them do
Yeah.
better. That was his argument to me somehow. Said I threatened him. Said I was acting like a tough guy, which I wasn't. I was just acting like myself. And then on top of that, when Sean went on, he acted like a total weak bitch again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was in the
Yeah.
chat being like, you know what? I thought this guy was cool. Fuck this weak bitch. Like, he's acting like a crybaby again. The second Sean went on, he started acting
There
like a
are some people
crybaby
who
again.
took it too far. I'm not denying that. I'm saying like, yeah, that did
I
happen.
felt
That's
like
all I was
you
trying
and
to call it out
Sean
in the
both
chat
tried
when I did
to.
some-
Yeah,
be,
we just
like,
talked to him like
friendly with
normal.
him.
Yeah,
Like
straight up.
like,
He was the
that's what I-
antagonistic one. We were friendly the whole time.
Chill out.
The thing is, if
Yeah.
you're not, like I said, if you're not sucking his dick, Sean went in and he was very honest with him and straightforward with him. He said, hey, the only reason I know who you are is because, you know, you sound like Joe Rogan and you made hate videos about me. That's the only reason I know. But he takes that as an insult. You know what I'm saying? And he takes that as
Yeah.
Sean being aggressive. But that's just Sean being honest and telling him, hey, look, this is how this happened. You're adding extra intentions to this for somebody that I don't know. I don't know you. I don't have those intentions against you because I don't know who you are. Like, the most I know about you is you sound like Joe Rogan and you made like 3 videos about me. That's all I know about you. But he takes
And not
that as
just
like
trying
a
to like
posturing
troll
or
you
something.
either. I
I
was
don't know.
trying to respond to some of the stuff you were saying on the video too with Michael
For no
Knowles.
reason.
And what was the Dave Rubin thing you were doing? Oh god, those guys were retarded. I was like, you know, when they line up their heads, they look like adult Peanuts characters. What's going on here? Like I said, there's things we're gonna agree on. There's things we don't. It's all good. If you want to talk again another time, I'm down for that. If you want to have, you know, if you want to come on my channel, I'm cool with that too. Whichever.
No, I went and looked at it. You still make content?
Every once in a while, I've kind of lost touch. Like, I've got a lot of stuff in my life, and I kind of lost the mood to do it. But I'll get back on it. I just kind of lost the mood to do it for now. But I never was a person to do it to like get big. I just kind of did it as a hobby. I like making videos, and I don't mind streaming every once in a while, talking to people. It's not a big thing where I want to do it all the time. You know.
Oh, I understand.
Mhm.
I do appreciate the sub, Donkey.
Yeah, no problem, man.
No,
Oh,
not you.
I sub too. Just saying.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate the sub.
Yeah, no problem. But I'm gonna jump off. I think we talked about what we wanted to talk about.
Sure, hey
And,
man, hey, this was a
Thanks
good
for having
talk.
me on.
Yeah, no problem.
This was a
buddy.
good talk
And,
where I sounded like
yeah.
a total bitch the whole time and
It
totally
seems-
failed on UBI and told you that poor people deserve to be poor. Which is the argument he makes for conservatives. And now I can strawman him and say he thinks poor people deserve to be poor because he won't go with UBI. Wonderful, right? How funny that turns around and works, right? And this is the failings of people who don't know how to critical think. He just basically backed himself into the corner where now I can be the person to strawman him and say he doesn't want to help poor people the same way he does with all conservative arguments against welfare.
Yeah, like I said, keep in touch, man. If you want to come on my channel, if you want me to come on, let me know. We can schedule something up.
Sure. Hey, look, if you're around.
But in the end, I actually have the proof that he doesn't want to help poor people because he argued against helping poor people in this. And I can show this video, and he shows it himself, where he argues against helping poor people, who would rather keep poor people poor than help them out of poverty. And that was the argument he made against me. Yeah, good point. All right, man. Let's see. Let's get to
fingernails.
I don't know if I want to. I think that's about it. I don't know if we're gonna watch the Sean stuff. It's like 7:30, and we wanted to do other stuff too. So maybe we'll end it here. That was fun. But yeah, this guy's a weak bitch. It was pretty funny that he thinks putting out this video in any way makes him look good. Like, I think it's embarrassing. It's funny how the self-awareness game works, where he thinks this is embarrassing for us, but it's embarrassing for him. Like, he just comes off as a weak bitch the entire time. Fails on an argument with me, which I didn't even go into debate with him. He forced me into a debate, kind of. Or pushed me into a debate about UBI. He got completely wrecked, where he basically had to argue that poor people are going to stay poor if you're not going to give them both. Like, it's a weird fucking argument that he's saying poor people are better off being poor, I guess. And, and then later on, you guys can go and watch this yourself, but later on he totally does the same shit with Sean. He completely bitches out. Sean wrecks him. Sean goes in, not even trying to wreck him. Sean goes in just being himself, throwing jokes, being giving him the benefit of the doubt, being charitable, and just being honest with him. And he completely fails on it and takes it antagonistically and starts crying about it. And now he's still crying about it, contacting bigger YouTubers and saying, "Ooh, actual justice warrior, send people to harass me." Completely takes out all the context in between, though, of like how we were trying to contact him and tell him, "Hey man, you're taking it wrong," and how we tried to talk to him and tell him, "Hey man, you're taking it wrong," but still wanted to take it like that and be an asshole. So fuck him. Bulldogs actually are conservative-leaning Democrats. They're still around. Most have been voted out. Joe Donnelly would be an example. I guess that's not me then, because they're not all voted out. I think the liberal Democrat I am, I think is like what most Democrats are. And then they have the smaller progressives that are growing in number, but they're still smaller, than liberals. The old school liberal Democrats are probably the majority still, like in the Democratic Party. And the progressives have been like this small group that have been loud, and it seems like they're the majority, but they're not. But they are growing and can be a majority at some point. And if that happens, then we're never going to get anything. Like, the progressives are just going to keep pushing really hard and getting shot down every time, And then it's going to be a game of... This is the weird game we're playing in politics now, where you have to force yourself to be the majority vote in order to get anything done. When we can get shit done all the time if we just work together with the right side and worked incrementally, you know what I'm saying? Instead of constantly shooting each other down and shooting each other on the foot, It's stupid. It's very stupid, but people like this don't understand. They're stuck in that right-left dichotomy.
Us or them.
Yeah, us or them dichotomy. They want it to be that way. This is what I'm saying, and this guy, to me, is a good example of that, of how he wants it to be us and them. He wants it to be left and right. He wants things to be antagonistic. He wants an enemy. Like, he doesn't want to understand the other side. He doesn't want to understand people who have any different opinions than him. He wants it to be antagonistic. If you believe different than I do, then I'm going to straw man you. I'm going to treat you this way. I'm going to cry whenever you come at me. Basically, I'm going to be a bitch, and I'm going to fail at arguments about UBI somehow. And the simplest of arguments. And then, and straw man everybody. And as we saw, when I had a conversation with him about not strawmanning people, and what a strawman is really when you strawman people, and how that's a failing of critical thinking and debate. He continued to strawman, right? Like every time, and arguing that he wasn't strawmanning, he was strawmanning people. So
he was like confused by that, asking.
And he was confused. You're right, and he kept making a face like you see him looking up and being like, wait, no, scratch this, let's do that," because that's what happens when you strawman people, and then you get an argument that's not what your straw man is, and now you don't know how to handle it. And you're like, and that's why this guy is never going to go places if he wants to debate people, if he wants to argue with people. He's never going to succeed, because what he's going to do is straw man people every time. And it's going to cause you know, it's going to cause him to get shot down every time somebody comes with an argument that's not his straw man. You know, that's what was happening with me with the vegans. The vegans would come at me and they would all debate me, and they would debate me with the same exact argument because they pin all meat eaters under the same argument. They straw man us all. So when they come in to argue with the meat eater and they say certain things and they think you're, oh, you have a dog? Well, you'd never eat your dog, right? And I was like, well, maybe it depends on the situation. You know what I'm saying? And then I would say the only reason I would, there's a reason why I would, then they would do the argument, oh, well, if you wouldn't eat your dog, then you wouldn't eat a cow, right? And I'm like, well, there's a reason I wouldn't eat my dog. I have an emotional attachment to it. And on top of that, dogs have been evolutionarily connected to us now, you know, where we look at a dog and we instantly sympathize with them because we have an evolutionary connection with each other that we have with no other species. So every other species is up for grab, you know, and then they wouldn't understand what to do with that argument because their argument there would be the person being, oh, yeah, you're right. If I wouldn't eat my dog, then I wouldn't eat my cow because they're retarded and don't understand that those are two totally different things. But I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I get that those are two totally different things, and I'd throw that at them and they'd get totally lost. I remember there was this one guy, I think his name was Little Peep, and I had an argument with him and I would beat his argument and he would disappear from the stream and go, no, you fucking, and he would get mad and he would start yelling, like he would freak out and you'd hear him yell like they would blow out the mic and he'd be like, and then he would log off, boom, boom, and leave the stream and we'd all laugh. Ha 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 ha. Then we go back to talking and I'm arguing with somebody else and he would pop back in like 8 minutes later, blinking. Oh, Alf, what about if you took this tree and blah, 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 and appeal to nature, and then I would bust that and he would scream again and disappear again. And then what I was finding out from someone else that was in this Discord was that he was going into the Ask Yourself server and asking Ask Yourself for arguments to throw at me. And then he would come argue with me. I would destroy that argument and then he would disappear, and it's not even destroying the argument, it's just I'd give him an answer he wasn't expecting, so he didn't know how to respond. So then he would leave, go back to that Discord, talk to Ask Yourself and be like, he gave me this answer, what do I say now? Blip blip blip. And he would come back, you know what I'm saying? And he did it like 3 times and we were like, you know what, man, you're done. You came back 3 times, you tried to argue, you had to go back to Discord and ask people for your arguments, you're done. But this is the point I'm making, is I've been this guy. I've been the person with a little bit of subs who a bigger channel came and tried to debate me and argue with me. I didn't bitch out about it. I laughed about it. I laughed along with those people. I argued against those people. And in turn, my arguments got better. I got better at debating. You know what I'm saying? And I realized these things, like people who are template warriors and why you can't strawman people. You know, I realized that even arguing with vegans, I would give a vegan an argument that I would give to another vegan or give to a couple vegans and it would work on them. And then I'd give it to another one and they'd have an answer for it. And I'd be like, oh shit. And now I got to sit there and think real quick. Like, oh yeah, but what about blah, blah, blah. And that's why he says, oh, you're good at cover, but it's not. It's just critical thinking. I'm just telling you what's going on at the moment, you know? And you're taking that as me being deceptive in some way, but I'm not. That's what's going on, you know? I'm just good at explaining shit. Like, if you think that's cover, like, why is that cover? It's so weird. It's like, I wasn't covering for Sean. I think it's a thing of, he thinks he's special, or he wants to be special. So that's why I think Devin brought up a point the other day, the day we were watching the stream, where he was like, this guy has low self-esteem. If you realize what he says here, it's in his words. And he says something to the effect of, why would you even come here? I'm nobody, blah, blah, blah. I'm nobody, right? You're this big channel. That shows how he sees this. Sean didn't see it as, this guy's a nobody. Sean saw it as, maybe he's a nobody, but not in that sense. Not a nobody because he doesn't have views or subs. He saw it as, this is a guy I don't know. All I know about him is he sounds like Joe Rogan. And and he made videos against me. That doesn't make him any lower than me or above me. I'll come on and talk to him. This guy's moral failing was that he is the one who saw it as, Sean, you're this big channel. I'm this little nobody. You're the one who sees yourself as a nobody, buddy. I don't see you as a nobody. You're an everyday person like everyone else. That's your failing. You're the one who sees it, that dichotomy that way. You know what I'm saying? And that's a sign. It shows people aren't self-aware of the way they portray themselves sometimes in public. So he's not aware that what he's showing there are his insecurities. He's showing that I'm the one who thinks you're bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Sean's in there confident, normal, neutral, not even being antagonistic, not slam dunking on this dude or nothing. Just talking like a normal dude, just like I did. I came on, talked to him like a normal dude. I didn't see him below me or above me. I just talked to him like man to man, you know? Now I see him as being below me because he's a weak bitch. And he'll always be a weak bitch. I don't even see a redemption arc for this guy. I think he's going to continue to... Now he's like, to me, like, once you've gotten to the point where you're quadrupling down, it's over. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be like that forever. Like, him sending that message to Surf's TV just shows this guy quadrupled down on this and just wants the world to know, maybe not subconscious, maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, he himself wants the world to know that he is a weak bitch. Like, and he is portraying that in every way he possibly can by cry babying about everything. Like, it's amazing almost, right? It's fun to watch, actually. I can't say it's not, but it's kind of fun to watch. I kind of hope he contacts other people too. But I bet you any money nothing's gonna come out of that Surf's TV shit.
Actually, I saw Alex mention earlier that that guy mentioned it to Surfs and to Vosh as well.
I did mention it to Vosh.
Guy's the first one to respond to it so far.
Oops. Well, I guess if I do that, you don't see nothing. Yeah, Vosh is not going to care. Vosh is going to look at this guy's message. See, Vosh is that kind of person who doesn't care about people smaller than him. Surf's TV, I'll give it to him. I've seen him shout out people smaller than him. I've seen him talk about people smaller than him. He's not that kind of guy. Vosh definitely is that kind of guy, and he won't talk to people smaller than him. If he thinks that Vosh is going to take that, he's not. Vosh isn't even that antagonistic with Sean. I think they had that one debate, and then Vosh kind of just dropped it and didn't even bring him up again. You know, like, he doesn't go and attack him or anything like that. And it's funny, wait till we get that clip. I want to go over that clip that of Surf's TV too, but that's not up yet. Maybe we'll do that another time. But it's funny because Surf's TV just mentioned it, and he was talking about how he wrecked Sean in the debate, which is funny because it went exactly the opposite, which is something maybe I might go over Sean's debate with him again and make a video on that and show, like, you know, where Sean beats him. Just
that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be large, just to go through the logic of how Sean beats him in that debate. And it's not even a thing of who beats who. It's just an argument. You know what I'm saying? Like, who has the better argument? You're going to see Sean has the better arguments. And Sean is way more knowledgeable about the things he's talking about. And it's a weird lack of self-awareness for the Surfs to say, you know, he's educated in this and he didn't know anything about it. I was showing him statistics. Dude, you're from Canada, bro. What do you know about U.S. law, you know, against a person who actually studied in New York City, you know, criminal justice? Like, how, what? Yeah. What are you talking about, bro? Don't play yourself. All right, so I'm gonna end this though. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for the super chat, Rick. At least I got super chats. That's nice.